Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. Today is going to be an interesting topic. Today we're talking about is it possible? Is it possible that we can thrive even in these times? Look at what we've got going on in the government here, navigating chaos, prosperity in turmoil. Can we actually get things done the way we need to get them done? All right. So if you're ready to learn how you can thrive even in these times, you definitely want to stay tuned. Okay. So as we get ready to talk about what you need, the things you need to have in place, so that because of the economic upheaval, the uncertainty, we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going to go on. We don't know how the economy is going to be affected. We don't know anything. And because we don't know, the stock market is dropping. Because we don't know, housing isn't moving. Because we don't know, interest rates are remaining high. Because we don't know, we as consumers, we are the people who do the working and living and dying in this country. We have no idea what's going to happen next. So if you want to know how to thrive, even in these times, stay tuned. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Navigating chaos, prosperity in turmoil. Even though we don't know what's happening, we don't know what's going to happen, you can still thrive in uncertain times. You can make it. Listen, anybody who wants to come to the stage here, if you're listening to us in Clubhouse, raise your hand, come to the stage, enter into the conversation. If you are watching us online, okay, you can also come on into to YouTube and interact with us. Let me go ahead and get that link so that you can come into the studio and talk to us. Let me put that in the comment section. There we go. And we're also going to put it in the comment section on, let's see, the comment section. All right, Victor, there we go. Come on up. Okay. We're also going to put in the comment section, the chat section here. There we go. Victor, how are you this morning?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks to the P.I.L.L method, I'm doing even better than I was a few months
Uh-oh. All right, let me see here. Something's going on with my audio. I need to fix that. Hold on for a second, because you're not coming through my main system. Hold on. All right, try it now, Victor. Victor, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
There we go. All right, my sound is a lot better. You said because of the P.I.L.L method, what going on now?
I am doing a lot better than I have been for the past several years.
Talk to us about that.
I stopped paying everything, including my high credit balances, and started focusing on making sure that I was paying against one or two of my credit cards, and then taking it easy, even though you get tempted. Hey, I've got a little money, I'm going to go ahead and pay against my high dollar balances. I didn't do that, and my cash flow increased, and my credit score went up about 25 points
Okay, we lost you, Victor.
Man, to lean in and listen and learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So listen, so you've done this from the information you've gotten from the podcast, or have you actually become a Pill Method client?
Just from listening to you here on Clubhouse.
Really?
I've come in and out. Remember when you used to do things with Byron?
Yeah.
And business over breakfast, and because of my job, I wasn't able to stay in the room the whole time. And if I, in that room with so many people, even if I raised my hand, I couldn't get called on. But with Clubhouse not being as not having as many people,
Yeah.
I've been able to come in and listen and engage, and so looking to do more of that and to get involved and hopefully lean in even more.
Have you ever gotten a free savings and earnings report?
No, I have not.
Really?
Nope, I have not.
Do you know that you can know the month, day, and year you could be completely debt free, and it's free?
Man, I would love it. I would love it.
Okay. So what you want to do is go to ice10k.com. Okay, we're going to put that in the chat here. ice10k.com, ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com. All right, we're going to send that. I'm also going to put it on the screen in we're going to add that to so people can see it online. ice10k.com. Now, when you go there, you want to click on the button that says get a savings and earnings report. And there's two pages you got to fill out. All right. And once you fill that out, you put all your financial data in there. And then our team will go ahead and give you a call to confirm that information. Once it's confirmed, you can get what's called a savings and earnings report. And it will tell you the month, day, and year you'll be debt free. And if you want to engage our service, then our algorithms, our AI system will guide you like financial GPS, telling you exactly how much money to move, exactly what month to do it in, what day of the month to do it on, and exactly what loan to attack. So it takes all the guesswork out. And our goal is to make sure that every single dollar you have kills as much interest as mathematically possible. How do you like that?
Man, I love it. Love it.
Well, if you think the information you have has done a wonderful work for you, wait until you see our opportunity cost calculator go to work to get you out of debt. Let me put this on the screen for everybody to see here. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We got it on the screen, and let me change up. Let me change this up, and there we go. There it is. All right. So when you go to ice10k.com, you'll first see ET, Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. He actually paid off his mortgage super early on our program. And then you just scroll down underneath his picture and you'll see get a savings and earnings report button. Click on that and it will take you straight there. Fill it out. And that will be, I'm telling you, that will be the start to the best days of your life right there, Victor. You're going to know what's happening. Okay.
All right. Appreciate you, brother.
Listen, man, thank you for coming in and giving us your testimony. Can you give us, is there anything else you'd like to share that maybe you tried something and it worked way better than you thought? Do you have any stories like that to share with us today?
I would say that for years, my wife has always been the wise one. I've always been the one that said, hey, I'm going to do this and it's going to work out later.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, really getting aligned with her, communicating with my wife, even though sometimes I may not be able to give her exact information about future finances, but because I'm aligned with her, which really means I'm aligned with God as well,
Mm-hmm.
then that wisdom of I used to say, hey, we're gonna go to Costco and spend $300 every time I pick it. Man, we're spending like $120 at Costco and having all the food that we need for a couple of weeks. Yeah, we may go out a little bit, but going out every other day. I mean, we were probably 300 twice a month at Costco, $600, just the two of us, and then we were still going out to eat. Now it's like we're getting all the food we need.
Yeah.
Using the Costco membership.
Right.
And it's making a difference. And you don't see that difference immediately, but I can tell, man, after months of doing that, it's making a difference, brother.
Let me tell you something, man. We're going to be talking about something like that today. With everything else that's going around, we're looking outside. We're looking at Musk. We're looking at DOGE. We're looking at Trump and what they're doing. We're looking at the stock market. Those things are out of our control. But what's in our control? Come on now. I got Credit Goddess in here. Bring her on up. Okay. So listen, what is in our control is what you're talking about, Victor. See, Victor, are you paying attention now more to what you're bringing home and what you're spending? Are you paying more attention to it?
100%, man. Every single day. Even little things like, yeah, I want that snack, but no, I'm not going to buy it.
Okay.
I mean, my job, we've got snacks in the office. They may not be my favorite.
Yeah.
But go ahead and grab the graham crackers, even though you want the chocolate chip cookie that costs, $2.
Yeah.
And the graham crackers are free. And when I eat one, I'm satisfied. Probably more satisfied eating a graham cracker than eating a chocolate chip cookie. Because guess what? I'm going to want another one.
Man, listen, this is perfect today. I want you to tell everybody, because I believe in divine appointments. Okay. We've never met. I didn't talk to you. I didn't invite you in here today. Did I?
Holy Spirit.
And we're talking about exactly what we're talking about today. You are bringing that up. Navigating chaos, prosperity in turmoil. How do you get there? And it's by let's count some of the ways that you're doing, because some of the things that you're doing, because it relates directly to what we're talking about. But before that, I want to say hello to Credit Goddess and give her respect. How you doing, Credit Goddess? How you doing, Rose?
I'm great. Don, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so very much. And thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. All right. Listen, tomorrow I'm going to be in Philly. All right. I'm going to be speaking at a tech conference. And so I'm speaking at a couple of tech conferences. This one is, let me see here. Let me put that on. I could actually put it on the screen. That's right. Tomorrow I'll be in Philly at Diversitech. And this will be the first time the P.I.L.L method and our AI system has been invited to speak at a tech conference. Okay. And it's very important that people understand how we can use technology to help us understand finances a lot better, especially when it comes to real estate and mortgages. It's going to be a phenomenal opportunity. And because of that, I got invited to another tech conference in Miami in April. So I'll be in Miami in April. So things are moving. So back to you, Victor. So talk to us. So you're starting to pay attention now to money coming in and paying all of your bills. Now, I want you to tell us, are you and your wife restricting yourself in having any fun? Are you still having a great lifestyle?
I was really blessed. Well, first of all, in my younger life, I was like all about spending money to have fun and hanging with my friends. Wasn't always that way. We had a friend of ours that passed away when we were in our 20s, and we used to get angry with him because he was getting a new car every year. He'd wreck a car, get another one. His parents were well off, and we were very conservative. I mean, ultra. Like we were like, hey, we're gonna save money, and
We lost you, Victor. Oh man, it was getting good. All right, we have to remind Victor where he was in the story when he comes back. Victor?
enjoy one another.
Okay,
Have
Victor, we lost you for us. You were telling us that you were saving money because after that we lost you. So you were
Oh yeah,
this is how you were conservative, you were saving money. Now pick it up from there.
yeah. So we after our friend died, and we found out that his parents were very wealthy, and he was just blowing money,
Mm.
buying cars, dating a lot of women, and then we realized his life was short and he was living it to the fullest, and we had not been. So we
Oh,
began to live a little bit more. And now fast forward to my relationship with my wife now, and I'm skipping a whole lot of stuff, but
come on, man.
basically we when we fell in love and I met her, doing the things I was doing, like, hey, I've got this nice car and we're going out to eat and all that. She didn't want all of that. She wanted to get to know me. And I really had to journey away from being a guy that wanted to spend and let's travel here and there. And now when we travel, it's generally for her business, and we'll tack on some personal time. But most of the time, what she wants to make sure of is that we're okay at home. And then, man, her biggest thrill in the week is going to Costco, which is amazing, you know. But that's our life, and then the joy that we have when we go to out of town, and people are shocked when we go out of town. We pretty much eat out at the same type of places we like to eat.
Yeah.
No fancy steak restaurants, but we might love to go look at homes and do things like that. So
Mhm.
I'm telling you, man, it's great. And I'm blessed that I finally have caught up to her wisdom
Mm.
and stopped thinking of ways to spend money. You know what I mean?
Wow. So you're living well. You're living well. You're paying off your debt. Your all your bills are paid. And talk to us about the stress you used to be under and your stress level now when it comes to finances, please.
So because I'm a businessman and have done very well and helped clients do really well in business, but much like the barber or the cobbler that has no shoes, I
Uh-huh.
was not benefiting from the wisdom I was giving to them.
Wow.
So, the stress of me, okay, we're going to work on your movie project, and we're going to go to the American film market, and we're going to take these folks, and we're spending 20 grand and all this. Now it's like, no, we're not going to go to the American film market this year, but we're going to take $1,000 instead of spending 20 grand to pitch an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, okay, we're going to spend $1,000 to work with your director and your uh, cinematographer and work on a concept that can get investors involved and get us a distribution deal, versus Victor Brown saying, hey, we did this for this client and we're going to do this for us. Well, no, God didn't intend for us to build her business that way, nor did he intend for us to use all of our cash flow to fund her business. There's a balance, right? So
Wow.
now understanding the leverage, understanding that a little bit of money and a little bit of faith,
Mm-hmm.
just the faith of a mustard seed
Mm.
can help the business explode. There's no reason why her film company, her publishing company can't generate millions. And it will, not because of lust or greed or because Victor Brown thinks he's the smartest businessman in the world.
Right.
It's going to be because I'm letting her wisdom and God's wisdom and my obedience align with God's will to help the success of the business take place, which then, in fact, keeps our personal money doing what it's doing and under control.
Listen, folks, I need you all to listen to this, and I need more people to get involved in this. I'm going to put this back on the screen. Navigating chaos, okay? Navigating chaos, prosperity in turmoil. You see, there are outside forces that will try to attract and demand your attention, and we can get so focused on the outside, we forget to do what we can on the inside. And we're going to be talking about that today. And here is some of the things I want to show you. This is okay. I got a comment here. All right. Hello, Michelle Denise. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Listen, she says, I would like to be an affiliate, please. All right, Michelle, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. And at the bottom of your screen, you will see the affiliate button. Just click on it. It takes 15 seconds to fill out, and then contact the office and we'll talk about, all the particulars. But Victor, I want you to take a look on my screen here. And here's some of the things that we're talking about. Victor is talking about his financial wisdom that comes from the Bible. All right. And basically, I've got some books here that I have lined up to talk about today so that we can stop focusing on the outside pressures and focus on the inside so that you can get some ideas that are different that will cause you to prosper even in these difficult times. I don't care who's in charge in the government. Okay. So here's the first book. Here's the first book. All right. Now, if you want to see this, you want to go to watch us on YouTube. Okay. And the first book is As a Man Thinketh. As a Man Thinketh. All right. By James Allen. Now, listen, I have autism spectrum disorder. And because of my autism spectrum disorder, and I am ADD, I have ADD as well. All through school, I was never able to sit down long enough to read a book all the way through. Okay, it was difficult for me. So in understanding that, I didn't understand it at the time. I understood it much later in life. But this book is the first book I read all the way through. I was 46 years old, Victor. 46 years old and never read a book all the way through. I want to tell you that As a Man Thinketh changed my way of thinking about money. You see, I can read the Bible, but there's a lot of wisdom in there. But this helps to shape and says, take some things out of the Bible and says, listen, let's zero in on these things right here. Those things that I needed to know. As a man thinketh, so is he. So it taught me how to think about money, how to think about service, how to think and to do. Victor, talk to us about how important is it to learn how to think and then to do. And the Credit Goddess, I want you to talk about it some too. Come on, Vic.
The real transformation in my life happened when I was at the current organization I worked for. Prior to that, I was at the Chamber of Commerce. When they formed this organization, they eliminated all of the small business programs and the diversity programs that I worked on. Mm-hmm. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
So when that happened, I lost about $35,000 in pay.
Mm.
And I began to think a lot differently. It was economic downturn. I was just, we almost lost our cars, almost lost our house. But I began to start thinking and begin to ask God to guide me and be with me. Had a good friend. I was on the board of trustees of a major $300 million university in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
And I was offered a position paying me twice what I was making. I turned it down. For the first time in my life. I mean, in my 20s, 30s, it was like, hey, I can make an extra $5,000. I'm going over here. Yeah. Talk about doubling my salary above where I was when I lost $35,000. And I told him, I said, I don't think God is calling me to this role.
Wow.
That was transformative because I needed that money.
You needed some money.
But it was the first time I made a decision that wasn't based on what Victor wants and what, the money. And now here it is, 15 years later,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing what I was put on earth to do. I'm basically compensated to be a consultant for small businesses that can't afford to pay me $400 an hour. It's unbelievable. But yet, had I left, right now he's no longer at the university. I'd probably not be there and out looking for a job. And here it is. I'm now getting paid for what I tried to do for money from small businesses in Atlanta that couldn't afford to pay for my services. So thinking, meditating,
Yes.
being in line and being in tune with God made all the difference in the world.
How about that? Credit Goddess, do you have anything to add? And I know you're busy today. You're just probably, do you have us on in the background?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have
I'm
anything
sorry,
to add to that?
question. Repeat the question.
Well, I just want to know, he was talking about the way he's thinking about money now. When you talk to clients, do you have to often tell them, part of the reason why you're in the financial situation you're in is because of the way you're thinking?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, I have to chisel through their current mindset
Mm-hmm.
and remold
Okay.
the way they have to think, especially when it comes to credit, because your credit score precedes you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the relationship that you have with money. So, a lot of people focus so much on a score, but the score is the result, is the outcome. It is not just there just to be there. The data is based on the information that you have on your credit profile, and the information that it pulls is your on-time payments,
Okay.
your utilization, how much credit you have left. So a lot of people that are afraid to use credit cards
Yes.
because they are afraid that they're gonna, go into debt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you can go into debt, but don't over leverage,
Right.
right? Because they score you based on how much credit you have left. So you want to have about 90% left of your credit instead of having only just 10%, because that's how you lose 165 points. It's
Wow.
all a game. It's a point. It's a game. It's a game.
So
Point
what you're saying is we're playing a game we don't have the rules to.
that part.
Okay.
So once we know the rules, then we know how to play the game.
Mhm.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, you know what? I've got a book. I've got a book that on that thought. Let me put this book on the screen right now. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Shin. Oh my gosh, a transformative book. How to think positively about your money, how to think positively about how life is going to go for you, and how to speak to yourself in a way that's positive and not negative, so that you don't slow yourself down. Listen, how you think about things matters, and we have all automatically been taught to think negative about what we don't have, about what we can't do, by focusing on the problems. Now, you see, Victor talked about, I had a problem. All right. But I'm not going to focus on the problem. I want to focus on the solution. The game of life and how to play it will help you to focus on the solution. I hope you all are writing these books down, because I got a ton of them, and it's all around thinking like we should think. Okay. So here's another book called The Circle Maker, by Mark Batterson. See, folks, we're talking about everything that's going on in the government right now. I mean, it is dominating the news. And we are heading towards, if they keep doing what they're doing, we're heading towards recession. And when people start talking about heading towards recession, then it causes a fear response. And when you're in fear, you make the wrong decisions. So start now reading some of these books Okay, pick up your Bible, and if you want to do some condensing, read some of these books that take passages from the Bible and help you to zero in on those things that are going to help you navigate the chaos so that you can prosper even in turmoil. The Circle Maker is a book that I read that is so good. Now, if let's say you were like me, okay, I don't read very well, Don. See, for me, I was sitting down trying to read, and I kept reading the same paragraph and the sentences over and over, over and again, because I get distracted so easily. It's a wonder I'm able to be here for 3 and 4 years online every week, giving this content. And believe it or not, the way my ASD presents itself in me, because if you're on the autism spectrum disorder, they'll tell you if you met one person that that has autism, you've met one person that has autism, because the spectrum is so wide. But part of the way it presents itself in me is that I have a very hard time speaking in public, believe it or not. Now, you asked me, why did God give me such information to a guy who has a hard time putting a sentence together? I hear it clearly in my head, but sometimes I'm at a loss for the right word at the right time to make sure that the message is clear. But if I listen to Victor, if I listen to Credit Goddess, if I put myself in the right position, if I position myself correctly, the thoughts and the ideas will come, because I'm not depending on me to create anything. I'm going to wait until the idea comes. The Circle Maker is a book that will help you to get there. All right, Victor, do you have anything else to share with us this morning?
Oh, it's just a blessed day. I'm on my way in almost to the office, so I'll
Yes.
have to hop off in a few minutes. But I want to share this. I have been looking to be in a room with you for probably at least 6 weeks.
Come on, man.
And, I think today is a divine appointment. It was meant for me to be here today. You have never had a chance to hear me speak, and it's a blessing. I'll share this. I'm doing a series on the Chatter social app called Life Seasons. And it's amazing that you're talking about navigating. I did spring and summer. I featured Donna Summer's 4 Seasons of Love album, but I did the spring and summer season, and then last night I did fall season, that transition from youth and inexperience and wasting like Victor did,
Yep.
into now the fall season, where we're preparing for winter. We're preparing for, first of all, fall is when all the changes occur. Back when Reagan was in office, I was in college. I didn't care what he was doing, but my mom and dad probably did. But I never talked to him about it.
Why?
Never talked to him about it. I used to hear rap songs talk about Reaganomics. I didn't care. I was Tony Manero going out to the club, Saturday Night Fever. But now here it is. I'm in the fall season. Now, all the things that we're witnessing, but I know that I don't need to lean into the conflict and the hatred and the racism and getting scared. I've got to focus on, Jesus said, don't worry about what they're doing. You follow me. So that's my word that I'll leave with you there. That was what was on my mind. And hey, this navigating life seasons and navigating money, that's what it's all about. So I'm here for it, man, and I appreciate you.
Hey, Victor, somebody online wants to know who you are. Your name is Victor Brown, and he's on X. Are you on any other social media?
Yes, sir. LinkedIn is my jam. I'm probably just really do well on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Easy to communicate with me there. I'm on Instagram as well as X. So feel free to reach out anytime. I'm happy to help anyone. I've been blessed. Like I said, I've done a better job of helping individuals and companies, some that have gone to $1 billion a year. But it's amazing how we have to take those life lessons and use them in our own lives to be a blessing for ourselves and our family.
Now I see a website here, threads.net.
Yes, I am on Threads as well.
Okay, threads.net/Vic, VICT Brown. And so Victor Brown on X, Victor Brown on Threads. And are you on Instagram as well?
Yes, I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is my number one platform.
Okay, his number one platform. So look him up, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, and thank you very much, Victor. Do you have anything else to share with us before you go? All right. So because I'm going to pick up on some of these nuggets and share more content here for the people.
Oh, absolutely. I would just say every day is an opportunity for endurance.
Yes.
And endurance is going to be the book that I'll be publishing. I've already done a blog on it. That blog is on Substack. But my whole life, my wife told me, she's the one that told me, Victor, you need to write, and you need to write about endurance, from heart surgery to almost passing away from diabetic crisis, because I wasn't living. It wasn't that I wasn't living right, but I wasn't living healthy. Eating those 3 meals a day, taking the medicine. A lot of people in our community are like, I don't want to take that medicine. It makes me feel bad.
Right.
Well, we got to do what we got to do to live. And now health is so important. So along with the wealth that we're learning through the P.I.L.L method, health is important. So I leave that with the group today.
Well, thank you so very much. Listen, Victor, reach out to us. Make sure you get that savings and earnings report. And our average client pays off all of their debt in about 7 years. And not only that, but they can have a great lifestyle while they're doing it. That's 2. And they actually grow their savings more while they're getting out of debt, all at the same time. Those 3 things: live well, pay off all of your debt in about 7 years, and grow your savings so that you can put more money towards investments, all at the same time. All right. So go ahead and fill that out. Get a savings and earnings report today. And if you forget about ice10k.com, just look up the P.I.L.L method online. The same button is on our website. Victor, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. It was great to be here. I'll see y'all soon.
All right. All right. Credit Goddess, listen, I'm glad you're here today. This is on an awesome day. So I see you commented on The Circle Maker. Have you read it?
No, I was just putting the name of the book and the
All right. Thank
yeah.
you. So, folks,
But I will.
all right, listen, folks, I'm going to put some more books up. If you are familiar with any of these books, all right, the first one was As a Man Thinketh. Then we had The Game of Life by Florence Shen. If you're familiar with any of these books, will you please comment on it and tell us what you think and how any of these books have helped you? All right, here's another book. It's called The Prayer of Jabez. All right, The Prayer of Jabez. It is an awesome book as well. Listen, we need to focus. We need to focus not on who's messing up or who may be causing problems for you. You need to focus on who can help you get to where you want to go. You know, listen, Credit Goddess, I got a set of cufflinks. Okay. And for me, it's a token. But when I put those cufflinks on and I walk into a room, my mindset is different. You know why? Because those cufflinks came from the White House and they're Obama signature cufflinks. So when I put those cufflinks on, or when I put my Obama pin on from the White House, you know what I tell myself? I tell myself that that Obama has put a stamp of approval on what I'm doing. And then when I speak, people listen. It's just a token, something that I can kind of focus on to get past my fear of speaking in public places. So whatever you've got to do, whatever you have to do to put yourself in position so the Holy Spirit can talk to you, can help you to get to where you need to go so you can focus on the right thing instead of the wrong thing.
I totally agree.
What do you mean? What you totally agree? What do you mean? Talk to
No,
me.
I totally agree because I think it's because we live in a world where we give so much
Yeah,
and we don't get back, which means like we don't get replenished.
yeah,
And as leaders like you and I, people would look at us and say, you know what, you got it in the bag. But really, we don't. We do have, that imposter syndrome sometimes that we have to like move out the way and say, listen, I'm stepping forward because they need me.
mm,
Right. But if we hear more of thank you and I'm grateful for the information that you provided, that alone and that energy and that spirit alone will allow us to continue to do what we do, and then we would block out the negative chatter because sometimes we listen more to our negative chatter in our head than what we receive. And this is why it's so important that many of you that are listening right now, go to Don, go to all his platform and thank him for the information. You guys are here, which is great. We appreciate your presence, but just hearing it, right? Putting the words out there will change our mindset as well.
yeah,
It was everyone's mindset. So I totally agree. Sometimes we have to lean on something, like you said, that cufflink is
yes,
the stamp of approval. Yeah, I might need to adopt that too because I have stage fright myself.
mm,
People don't believe it, and I do so well when I speak, but it's like I got to get past the jitters sometimes. But also I have to remind myself that the information that I have to share with people is impactful and is going to change lives. I have to say this to myself before I get on stage or before I get on the mic and speak, because people rather speak on negative than positive, and we need to change that. We
that
need to,
is so true. That
yeah.
is so true, ladies and gentlemen. This book right here, The Prayer of Jabez, you can get that in audio book. You can get it in paperback. You can get it in hardback. Listen, that is a good book. Okay, I'm getting ready to introduce another one. I'm getting ready to introduce another book. Okay, here it is, The Richest Man in Babylon. There it is, The Richest Man in Babylon. Let me see if I can get a bigger picture up here. There it is, The Richest Man of Babylon. And this one is an audio book, but you can get it in paperback as well, or hardcover. The Richest Man in Babylon is an awesome book. All right. So you want to make sure that you get these books and read these books, because you need to get through these times, ladies and gentlemen, to navigate the turmoil, so you can prosper. You need to have the right mindset. And the book itself will not give you the idea that you need to prosper, but the book will put you in a mindset so that you can receive information that is for you. Let me tell you, have you ever heard of the reticular activating system? Well, but let me explain to you what that is. Have you ever bought a new car, and then when you look around, you see a lot of cars just like yours? Okay. Have you noticed
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You notice that concept? You see, that's the reticular activating system working. Those cars were always all around you. You just never noticed them before. Okay. So what we're talking about is when you put your mind in the right position, the information that was supposed to be for you to help you to prosper, you are now tuned into that information and you can now hear it and receive it. If you don't believe me, I need you to think about the last time you needed a solution to a problem. You needed a solution to a problem. You went to sleep thinking about what is my solution to the problem, and you woke up with an answer. Has that ever happened to anybody that's listening to me right now, whether it's live or where you're listening to watching the replay? Okay, you need to understand that the information that you need is always there. It's just that if you're tuned into the negative, if you're tuned in to those things that, well, let me do this. If you're tuned in to the negative, if you are talking about the negative, you're talking about what's wrong, then you're on the wrong frequency. You're on the wrong channel. Okay, you're trying to watch something that's good for you, but you're on the wrong channel. You need to switch to a different channel that says, this is something I can do. This is something that I need. I need a solution to this problem. And here's what's great about it. That solution came to you and nobody told you. If nobody told you and you came up with the solution, where did that information come from? I'm just asking. Where did it come from when you received it and nobody actually told you? The information is always already there. You know, our genius is just waiting to be manifested. You just have to plug in to the source of where the genius comes from. Okay? Listen, where did I get this information that I'm sharing with you week after week after week on finances? You know, I've never had a finance course. I've never gone to school for finances. Where did this information come from on learning how to read an amortization schedule, how to teach people how to get out of debt in 7 years, how to understand that the higher interest rates are better than the lower interest rates? How do I get to know all of this? It's not because somebody taught me, because it's not being taught anywhere. What you're learning here on the P.I.L.L Method platform, on our channel here, it's not taught anywhere else. So where does it come from? It comes from putting yourself in position to get more information. So here's what you need to do. Here's something that I did. I write things down. I wrote down that I want to go to speak, get more opportunities to do public speaking this year. And somebody reached out to me and says, Don, I want you to speak at these tech conferences about what it is that you do. I didn't call them, they called me. I wrote it down. I put myself in position to receive that information. And just yesterday, Credit Goddess, a person who is on our program says, in prayer meeting, they talked to their congregations. One of the pastors talked to their congregation about the P.I.L.L method. Now they've been on the P.I.L.L method for years and doing well. But for some reason, it came up in prayer meeting and he started telling the congregation about the P.I.L.L method and what it could do for them. And he called me last night and said, can you speak to my congregation next Tuesday night? Okay. And then we want to see if we can bring you into wherever that church is. I'm not going to give out too much information. All right. And then I got another call to go to Detroit for a different church. Somebody who's found my information online and says, we need your information. So what did I do? I wrote down what it is that I needed. Now, these are the concepts that you get from the circle maker. I'm going to put it back up on the screen. Okay. The circle maker, how to write things down, how to focus on specifics, and then look for the answer to those specific things. So I'm looking for speaking opportunities, and lo and behold, I write it down and speaking opportunities come. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know what else comes, Credit Goddess? You know what else?
What else?
When I write the richest man, when I read The Richest Man in Babylon, I actually found out that there's a science to all of this. And there is a book called The Science of Getting Rich. I've read that book. I've listened to that book several different times. Okay. The Science of Getting Rich. All right. So let me ask you something, folks. If there was a way of doing things in a certain way that anybody could do, I mean, for anybody. Credit guys, I'm going to ask you a question here, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody. But do you know some people who are doing well financially that, you know, they're actually not the sharpest pencil in the box?
Oh, no, I agree. No, I agree.
Okay, they're not the sharpest pencil in the box, but they do well financially.
Yeah.
They're rich. You see, because they do certain things in a certain way. You see, you don't listen. I'm one of those people. I don't do math very well. You know, there's things that I don't do very well, but this is the reason why I am on the planet, to talk to people about how to navigate their finances at a different level so that it will benefit you instead of benefiting the rich, because I'm getting ready to do another show in the future of how we are interest generating machines for the rich. Oh man, when I get through with that show, I've got to be very careful so that people don't get the wrong idea and become negative and bitter towards those who have set up a system where they think they're doing the right thing, credit goddess, but they're actually making other people rich. We're going to tell them the secrets of what's happening so that they can prosper. You know, that's what E.T., the hip hop preacher, the Eric Thomas talks about, is having the right mindset, credit goddess, so that we can get to where we need to go. The book, The Science of Getting Rich, will help you to get the right mindset there. So I hope I'm speaking to some people here so that they can comment on some of these books, okay, that I've actually read them. And if you have read a book that has helped you, put it in the comment section. If you're watching us online, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on Facebook, put it in the comment section, the book that has helped you. I'll put it on the screen. We'll talk about it. Okay. So, credit guys. So, does this make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
A lot of sense. Mm-hmm.
Here's another book, Think and Grow Rich. Anybody ever heard of that?
Of course.
Think and Grow Rich. Listen, folks, there is something going on with this idea of thinking and then doing. If you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. It is a law of the universe that works. Okay? It's a law of the universe that works. Do you know how I know? Because there are people out there that are not doing well financially at all. Okay? But when you talk to them, you will find out where their mindset is. Their mindset is on the negative. Their mindset is on what I don't have. Their mindset is on scarcity. Their mindset is on all of these things that won't allow them to prosper. And guess what? Guess what comes to them? More of what your mind is set on. So I know it works. I just need to get folks to make it work in the opposite direction. Can I share something with you? Listen,
Yeah.
being in business, credit guys, I love being in business. I love, making my own hours. I just love it. Okay. And I love being able to go where I want to go, drive what I want to drive, live where I want to live. And my bills are paid for. My bills are paid every single month. My bills are paid. But there are sometimes I have an abundance of money in my bank account. But there are other times when my bank account gets drawn down to almost zero. Now, I have a choice to make. Do I focus on what is not in my wallet? Do I focus on what is not in my bank account?
But you know what?
Come on, credit goddess.
What about the people that say, well, I can't focus because I don't have those things? Just like you said, we focus on what we don't have. We focus on scarcity.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's just hard for people to get out of that space, that headspace. What do you tell those people?
Listen, I have a notebook that I write things down in. I've written down, and I've had clients do the same thing. Write down how much you want to have to come into your household. Write it down. I mean, what is the first number that comes to you? Let me give you a little something to chew on, everybody, if you're listening here. What is the first number that comes into your head? I want this much money to come into my household every month. Not how it comes in, but what. How much do you want to come into your household? Write it down. Okay. Once you have written it down, now I want you to add to that. I want you to add to it a little bit more so that you can have something left over to help somebody else with. Oh, because sometimes we write down a small number or a number just enough to get by. Just enough to get by. We write that down. That's the first number that comes into our head. So write it down. But now add another number to it, add some more to it so that you can take care of what you need to take care of, but you'll have some left over to help somebody else in need because they don't have that mindset yet. You're trying to help them to get there. Now, that's two things. Here's the third thing. I need you to add another bigger number to it. Listen to me now. Add another bigger number to it so that when you achieve that final number coming into your household per month, you know you could not do it. It is not within your power. It is not within within your skill set. It's not within right now. It's that God did it. This number is so big that you cannot take credit for it. Listen, folks, do you see this in my studio here? I can't take credit for it. I have an office. I got an outer office. I got an inner office. I've got this studio here. I've got all of this equipment. And 3 years ago, none of this existed. No fan base, people following me. I got Victor Brown. He's been listening to me for a long time. I didn't even know Victor Brown was listening. What if I got to the point, credit goddess, when the sales weren't coming in, the people weren't responding, and I just said, you know what? I'm not going to do my show this week. Did you realize that people are expecting my show to come on every single week, even though they're watching, but they're not saying something? And if I don't show up, that might be the very day that somebody needed to hear what I had to say or what we had to offer. And I've had that happen so many times. People say, listen, Adon, I've been listening to you for a long time. And they finally get around to coming and becoming a client. I've been listening to you for a long time. Now's the time. But what if I had given up early? What if I had looked at my bank account or my wallet and said, listen, I'm doing this and my bank account is getting so low. I mean, down to under $1,000, down to under $500. I mean, it's getting low. And then boom, 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 several clients come in all at the same time. And my bank account is right back up there again. You see, that money that is in my bank account now is just out there waiting to come in. It's out there. It's already out there. It's just I don't see it. But because I don't see it doesn't mean that it's not mine getting ready to come in. I don't want to put myself in a position that blocks that money from coming into my bank account because now I have a negative mindset. Listen, folks, stop thinking about Donald Trump. Stop thinking about Elon Musk and what they're doing. Okay? Here's what I know. Presidents come and presidents go. Ideas come and ideas go. But you have a responsibility to you and or your family to become the best you can be, to do what you need to do, to be a provider, to do what you need to do to excel, to become the very best that you're supposed to be, because no one is put on this earth. Listen to me now. No one is put on this earth to wake up every day and say, I need to be the worst I can be. I need to do badly today. Nobody's put on this earth for that. Nobody. So think right now, go ahead and get that book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Getting Rich. Uh-oh, I got another one. I got another one here. The Go Giver series. Listen, this book will talk about the 5 stratospheric laws of success, credit goddess. And one of the laws is your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. Do you know that God gives me a way to serve hundreds of thousands of people? Because I have no idea. Once these videos go up, they stay up forever, and people are watching them and they're commenting on them, and they come to me days or weeks or even years later because we're learning how to give, credit goddess, and we're helping a lot of people. So more people you help, I'm telling you, they will be out there singing your praises. And it happened just last night. As I was preparing to do this show, I mean, I had this idea up last week and even before, but I did not know that somebody was going to be here this morning to talk about the very thing that I wanted to talk about. How to navigating chaos, how to prosper in turmoil, because you're going to be focused on how to serve and how to give so that you can receive. Now, now you've heard the term, it is better to give than to receive. They're both important. They're both important. You need to learn how to give and you need to learn how to receive. How many people have prayed, fasted, wished for, or I want this to happen for me. And then when it shows up, it didn't show up in the way that you thought it would. And then you say, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, that's not what I wanted, because it's not in the way that I thought it was going to come to me. So I say, no, thank you. Nope. Stop trying to dictate how your finances will change. Just focus on that they should change and look for the blessing, and I understand, and then believe and understand and be able to recognize the blessing when it comes. Recognize the blessing when it comes, because it could come disguised in a way that you had no idea. I had an influencer call me the other day who's got over 300,000 people on their channel. They called me to help with explaining to their clients what we do and talk to their international clients because they can't handle the international clients and we can. So they send us all their international clients. So they became one of our affiliates. So did I know this person before? Did I reach out to them? No, I wrote down how much money I need to come in every month. And then God put it on somebody's heart to call me and to send us clients. These clients believe in this person so much so that when they say you need to talk to Don Daniel in the P.I.L.L method, the work is already done. Credit guidance, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That's just the way it works. I mean, what they say, write it down and make it plain.
Yes.
Right. And if you don't ask, then you don't receive.
That's right. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. Oh my goodness. So listen, folks, I'm going to share these books with you again. We talked about As a Man Thinketh, The Circle Maker, The Prayer of Jabez, The Richest Man in Babylon, The Science of Getting Rich, The Game of Life and How to Play It, Think and Grow Rich, and The Go Giver. I'm telling you, let me put those pictures back on the screen one more time so that you guys can write it down. All right. And get some of these books. Some of these books will speak to you and say, listen, I need to get that one. I need to get that one. The Prayer of Jabez. Here we go. The Richest Man in Babylon. There's several different titles there. I actually listened to this one. I like stories. So I like hearing a story and I can relate to it a lot better. And this makes a good story. Okay. There it is. Richest Man in Babylon. Okay. The Science of Getting Rich, The Game of Life and How to Play It, Think and Grow Rich, and the Go Giver series. There's 4 or 5 books in that series. You want to get every single one. So I'm going to take a little break and then we're going to come back. And now when I come back, we're going to be talking about mindset, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about mindset and how it's important to know how human beings respond to finances. And some of the books that you're going to need to read, if you're interested in knowing why we make the decisions, the decisions that we make about finances, how all that comes from. There's a science to this, and we're going to be talking about behavioral economics when we come back. So I need you to listen to Eric Thomas here for the next 50 seconds while we take a quick break.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, folks. All right. Now I'm also going to be in Philadelphia. All right. And at this tech conference, and I want to show that as well. Let me set that up. All right. There we go. And put that on there. Okay. Where is that background? There it is. And here it goes. So I did not even know about this tech conference until a few weeks ago. And here's the thing. Some of the smartest people in the country are going to be there. And they have breakouts. They have breakout rooms, Rose. But when they heard about what I talk about, they didn't put me in a breakout room. I'm going to be on the main stage talking to the whole assembly. The first time I speak at a tech conference and they don't give me a breakout room, they say, we need you to address the entire assembly. Some of the smartest people in the country. How intimidating can that be, credit goddess, when you're invited to a situation like that? See, the fear is if I don't do well, I won't get invited back. You can get so bogged down into what do I say and how do I say it. I want to look smart. I want to appear smart. I want to make sure that they get the information. I want to do well. Credit goddess, how do we show up in a situation like that, keep our wits about us to say and do the right thing? How do I have the right mindset in that situation?
Get this. What about this? See, you know ahead of time, but imagine if you were invited to speak at NARAB, you know.
Uh-oh.
They flew me out. And I had a breakout room. But because, and this is I was speaking on business credit, and because it was such a popular topic, it was on demand. So many people signed up for it that they moved me from the breakout room to the main room.
All right.
I had to prepare for that in a short period of time. They said, well, your room is not ready because you're going to the big room. I'm like, what?
Okay.
I'm going to the big room. I was so nervous, but then, I had to turn the switch and I say, you know what? Everybody needs this. Just like everyone needs your information, Ice. Like this is not selective. Everybody needs it. Just like everybody needs credit.
Wow.
There's no way around it. Yeah. So yeah, congrats to you on the big stage.
Well, I'm telling you something. Listen, that is what we're speaking about here today, having the right mindset, because when you go into situations like that, I just need to relax long enough. The Bible talks about stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still. The ideas will come to you, not the good ideas, but the God ideas. Okay. So what am I going to talk about? It's coming to me and I have an outline. I just need to work it out because I fly out tomorrow. I speak on Friday. Okay. And they want me to speak to the big room. So what do I say to these geniuses out there about about something that they are unaware of, how amortization actually works and how technology can help you to borrow money at a discount? That something is going on that you've never been taught. Oh my gosh. So it can get to the point where you can get paralyzed by overanalysis. It's called the paralysis of analysis.
Analysis paralysis. Yeah. Analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis. I don't need to be there. The words that I need to speak are already there. I just need to put myself in the position to get there. So what we're talking about right now is behavioral economics, how people make irrational decisions when it comes to money. This is a whole science. And some of the books that I've read are written by people who have achieved the status of a Nobel Prize winner in economics. So if you want to know how people make decisions about money, about why we make the decisions the way we do, how to become, make better decisions. Do you know that we are not born to make good decisions about money. People make bad decisions about money all the time, thinking they're making a good one. Okay? So, Misbehaving by Richard Thaler is one of those books that helps you to understand what is the right way to think when it comes to economics, to put you in the right position. Here's another one. It's called Nudge. Nudge is a book about how to get people to think differently about money, but not hit them over the head, but nudge them slowly towards the right decision. So let me give you an example. All right. So are you aware that in some states you can have it on your driver's license that you want to become an organ donor? Are you aware of that, Credit Goddess? Oh, she's on the phone. How about people that are listening? Are you aware in your state that you can put on your license that you want to become an organ donor? All right. Just in case. All right. So listen, they found out that there's only a certain percentage of the people who opt in to doing something. They take an action. Okay. You have to take an action to become an organ donor. And they were wondering, why are so few people opting in? And what they found out is it's the act of doing something that was the problem. It wasn't the fact that people didn't want. If you were to do a survey, you would get way more people that says, yeah, I would become an organ donor, but they don't take the action to click what they need to click to put it on their driver's license. So what they decided is we're going to try this. Let's put it on there that everybody can be an organ donor. And if you don't want to be, you opt out. Now I have to take an action to not be an organ donor instead of taking an action to become an organ donor. Do you know they had a way better response? Because the problem was taking the action, not what they were taking the action about. So it nudged the people to become more to get the people to where they need them to go or want them to go. And they got a much better response to organ donorship because people did not opt out of the program. Now, it's the same thing. They found the same thing worked when it came to people participating in the 401k and other ways of saving at their job. They said, well, if we can do this, all right, we can do this, we can nudge them to save more, to be more prepared for retirement. But instead of having people opt in to the retirement program, they set it up so people would have to opt out of it. Do you know they had way more people involved in it and at a much higher level when they set it up so that it is easier to do than not to do. If it's easier to do than not to do, then people will do it. But if they have to do something, that's where they found that was a sticking point. And oftentimes when it comes to doing something that's financially beneficial, we don't opt to do the right thing. So understanding how we think about finances is important. Here's another book called Predictably Irrational. Predictably, when you read this book, oh my gosh, predictably, we make the wrong decisions when it comes to different things, when it comes to our money. Predictably. Let me give you an example that I read in these books that when you have something that's yours, you tend to value it higher because it's yours. So what this professor did is went to the gift store at the university and bought some coffee cups. All right, they didn't cost very much. Bought some coffee cups and gave half the class a coffee cup, and gave the other half of the class didn't have a coffee cup. So they were supposed to negotiate with somebody on how to sell the coffee cup. Right. So now the coffee cup, these things cost $2 or $3. And when it's yours, they said, listen, you can, if you sell it for this, then the professor will make the deal good. The professor will make the deal good. Listen, there was a pool of money, and if you can sell it for this, I'll give you the money. So once the whole thing started, the professor told him how much the coffee cup cost. I think they were $2 or $3. But now the coffee cup is mine, and I could sell it. So if I sell it for $2 or $3, that's $2 or $3 I didn't have, because the coffee cup really wasn't mine to begin with. Do you know that these students were trying to get $5, $10, $15 for these coffee cups when it wasn't theirs in the first place? It became more valuable because it was theirs. So that happens if you're a real estate agent, and when you're talking to somebody who wants to list their house with you, they may be thinking about how their kids grew up in the house, how the house smells at Thanksgiving dinner. They may be thinking about how a lot of good things happen in this house, and they value it way more than they should value it. And then you've got to help them to bring that idea down so that the marketplace can determine how much the house is worth. Not because you own it and now the price gets inflated. These things about being predictably irrational when it comes to money, this is an excellent book to get to help you to understand that. Now, here's another book by Chip and Dan Heath, Switch. Oh my gosh, these guys are brilliant. Okay. How to change things. Okay. How to change things when change is hard. How to change things when change is hard. There's a whole system of how to get things to change, whether it is in your business, on your job, at home. When it comes to getting things to change in the way that they should change, there is a way that we can get them to change based on how human beings actually think when it comes to anything that's economic, how to get them to change. This is a great book as to why it is so hard to get them to change. And what we generally do is try to get people to change the wrong way, and they resist change instead of changing. How to get things to change based on our psychology and how we are put together, how we automatically think when it comes to finances. Great book. Decisive is another one. Okay, how to make better choices in life and work. Oh my gosh, this was transformative. Decisive, a book by Chip and Dan Heath. You definitely want to get these books. So, folks, what we're talking about today is how can we navigate the chaos? Prosperity in turmoil has so much to do with how we make decisions about and around finances. We do things in a way that actually can hurt us. And one of the things that I found out over the years is that when it comes to real estate investors and how much money they can make, they don't go far enough. They go this far and no farther. This is how far they go. Does the property cash flow? How much do I have to pay for the mortgage? How much am I going to charge in rent? Okay. And if the rent coming in is more than the mortgage. That's called cash flow, and they're satisfied with that. What they don't pay attention to is the equity that they're getting in the property, because we have a tenant paying, giving them money for the mortgage through the rent system. We're not looking at how much of that money goes to interest. It is a huge amount. And we don't have to do it that way. But because we're so focused on getting the cash flow, we stop there and not look at how much interest is being paid out. Oh my goodness. So trying to get people to see that, very, very difficult. But those who do see it, they make way more money. So we have read these books to try to help people to see how they can make better financial decisions. And once they make that decision, here's another book, Made to Stick. How to get your idea or your way of doing things to stick in other people's minds. Have you ever thought about how to make that happen? I got a great idea. How do I get my idea to become sticky in other people's minds? You know, there's a whole science to that. And this is the book. If you're in a situation, if you're in corporate America, if you're in a business of any kind, if you're in a social club, if you are in a nonprofit, you know, you're trying to help other people. You're trying to help a lot of people in whatever it is that you're doing, and you got an idea, but you're one person with your idea. How do you make your idea stick in the minds of people so that your idea gets done? This is the book you want to read. All right? How the Made to Stick. Very good book. Oh, and this one. This is by Daniel Kahneman, and another Nobel Prize winning economist wrote Thinking Fast and Slow: How We Make Decisions with two sides of our brain. One side thinks fast. That's the lazy side. And listen, I want to make a decision. I want to get that thing done. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing it. And this is what we're going to do. But when you're thinking slow, you're more deliberate. You look at a lot of the different variables and come up by making, and sometimes you make a better decision when you look at how many different ways it can go wrong, when you look at how many different ways it can go right, looking at trying to predict the unintended consequences and make a better decision by doing the number two thinking slowly, thinking deliberately instead of thinking fast. This book breaks that all the way down, and you can see yourself in the pages of these books and how you've been conditioned to think about money. Oh my gosh. Here's another one, The Undoing Project. The Undoing Project by Michael Lewis. Another book on behavioral economics. It's a psychology about making decisions about money. Let me go back over these, but misbehaving, making the making of behavioral economics, nudge, predictably irrational, because you know these guys, they're telling us that we just make irrational decisions when it comes to money. We're just conditioned to do it. Okay. Switch, how to get people to switch over to the right thing, and even yourself. Okay. Decisive, all right, how to make better choices in life and work. Made to Stick, how to get your ideas to become sticky. Thinking Fast and Slow, all right. and the Undoing Project. Listen, getting ideas about how we think about things, getting insights into yourself, very important in these times when, here it is, when we're trying to navigate chaos, how to become prosperous in turmoil. Stop looking at the outside. Stop looking at the outside on who may be making decisions. You can't control that. I can't control what Donald Trump thinks or does. I can't control what Elon Musk is doing. I can't control what what they're doing affects the economy. I can't. But what I can do is learn how to think correctly so that whatever situation I find myself in, I can do well. Can I get some people to come up to the stage, talk to me about this? Who knows what I'm talking about? Does anybody know what I'm talking about here? Put some comments in. Let's talk about it today. All right? Let's talk about it. Raise your hand. Come to the stage. And let's enter into some conversation. I want people to know how difficult it is to deal with it when it comes to finances, how to deal with things the way they're supposed to deal with them. I'm going to give you a couple of examples here, because right now, things are going to be happening to you financially, and you need to know how you can navigate it. Number one, you need to write down how much money you need to have come into your household. Write it down. I'll put something on the screen here. All right. And let me get a new window. Okay. And we're going to put Brett Whistle up here. Okay. So we can do some financial work. I need you to start thinking about things in a more rational way and not an irrational way. One of the things that is happening is the interest rates are higher than they used to be just a few short years ago. And everybody is talking about higher interest rates and how difficult it is to make it. And I want to tell you that once you understand how an amortization schedule works, you can do much better with a higher interest rate than you can a lower one. Okay? Because of this, I need you to take a look at the principal payment on this loan. When you control the principal payment, you control the loan. I've said this many, many times. I want to make sure people get it. On this payment on this mortgage, the payment is $2,661.21. $2,661.21. And this is a $400,000 mortgage at 7%. So when you make that payment of $2,661, only $327.88 goes to principal. But the next month, the principal payment is $329.79. I'm not telling you how the P.I.L.L method works. I'm just telling you how to read this thing to make it work for you. So if my next payment is $329.79, what if I paid that early? I paid it before the bank was looking for it. I give it to the bank. They have to subtract $329.79 for what I owe, and I'm paid down to line 2 if in that same month. Let's call it January. I make a payment in January. I look at February's principal payment. I can give that to them early. Now, if I pay on time every single month, I have to give, if I pay when the bank wants me to pay, I have to give them $2,661.21 just so my payment can be discounted so that only $329 survives to pay down pay down the loan. The next month, only $331 survives to pay down the loan. The month after that, only $333.65 survives out of all of that money to pay down the loan. But if I give them that money early, I don't have to pay them any interest. I can make that payment here in January, and then I could give them the next three, the 329, the 331, the 333. If I have it, I can give that to them before the next payment is due. They have to subtract that from what I owe, and I'm paid down to line 4 on my amortization schedule, and my next mortgage payment is actually on line 5. What happened to these 3 interest payments? The $2,331, the $2,329, the $2,327 are all eliminated. Now, this is right in front of us. It's hidden in plain sight. But I've explained this over and over again, but because we have been taught to think about it differently, even though I show it, the mindset is not there to actually put it in place. No one disagrees with it once they see it, but making the change to do it a different way. You see, I have been so used to giving the bank $26.61 so that only about $300 pays on my mortgage. Can I show you something here? If you're watching this, go to YouTube right now. This is what I'm talking about today, how to think differently even in these times so it can help you and stop doing what they expect you to do. Here's what I need you to see. The payment is $26.61, and we're just going to go down and see how you're paying back this mortgage out of $2,661.21 and how we get used to doing it. I need you to look at the principal column here and look at the $300 payments. That's in the first year. That's the second year. It still goes from $351 to $374. Okay, $300, $300 payments, $300 payments. It takes 3 years. It takes 3 years of payments. 3 years of payments before your principal payment goes into the $400 range. So what is happening during those 3 years? If you do it the bank's way, your loan is paid down by $13,000. But look how much interest has been paid, over $82,000. I've been trying to tell people about this for years. And some people have come over and said, listen, Don, I like the information. Thank you very much. We're going to start thinking about this and use the P.I.L.L method system to save a ton of this interest. But some of them have chosen to keep doing what they've always done and keep doing this. And the reason why I got into these books, is because people make irrational decisions when it comes to money. I needed to know why, so I can help more people get to where they needed to go, even in these times when the stock market is dropping like a stone, when we're headed towards recession and fear starts to grip the hearts and minds of people. What are we going to do? We need to start thinking about our money differently. That's it. What can we do to help ourselves? We need to know that no matter what is happening, we can borrow money cheaper. So if you're in business, doesn't matter. If you are a homeowner or home buyer, how can I pay for what I need to pay for and get more for my money? I need to start thinking like a bank. Now, we all know that success leaves footprints. There's books out there on how successful people have done things in the past. I need you to stop right now and think about this. We are taught to think like consumers, all of us. All of us are taught to think like consumers. Banks don't think like consumers, they think like banks. Why don't we learn to think like them? Why hasn't anybody here in this room that's watching me online, why hasn't anybody said, how are banks doing it? What do they do? And can I do it? What do they do? They're the biggest borrowers in town. The banks borrow your money. And what do they do with your money? I need you to think about it now. They make money with your money. They invest it. They invest it in loans. They put that money out there so that people can purchase stuff, a house, a car, education, whatever it is. They lend that money out and they put it in an amortization schedule like this. So a lot of interest can be made off your money. And then they turn around and how much do they, listen, folks, how much do they pay you? Ron, how much does the bank pay you to put the money in the bank? Okay. Marshall, Kenny, Reggie, Eric, how much is the bank paying you for your money so that they can do this, not only to other people, but to you as well? They pay you pennies on the dollar. So my question is, why can't we take a page out of their book and do the same thing? The math is still the math. How can I borrow their money and pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of the money I get from the bank? If they can do it, we can do it too. If they can do it, we can do it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, but it takes a mindset shift. I need to start thinking differently. Stop thinking like a consumer and think like a bank. How successful are they? What are they doing? How do banks make all of this money? How do I look at an amortization schedule? Okay, how do I look at an amortization schedule and figure this out? Is there anybody out there on the internet anywhere that's teaching how this works? The answer is yes, it's on my channel, on the YouTube channel. You need to go to YouTube, click on the notification bell. So whenever we're on, you know it. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get this information. And if you don't like the longer videos, just click on the tab that says videos. And those videos are like 10 minutes or less, each one of those. And it gets right to a question and to an answer. And we show you the numbers. That's what's good about the P.I.L.L method, folks. We show you the numbers. How do we survive in a time when there's so much uncertainty? You've got to know how your finances work. You need to track how much you're spending each month. You need to track what your bills are each month. And you have to have a strategy on what you're going to do with the money that's left over. Okay? Is it possible to live well? Is it possible to live well? I mean, on a regular basis, you and your family can have some fun and create memories, all right, out of the income that you have. Can you do that and pay off all of your debt in about 7 years? The answer is yes. We can still have fun and pay off all of our debt in 7 years, 7 to 9 years. It is possible. What is it that I need to do these two things? Well, there's more than two things you need to do. You need to get ready for retirement. You need to put money away for savings. You need to start growing your wealth. How can I invest better? That's the third thing. You can do all three of these when you start thinking about your money differently. You can live well now. You don't have to wait till you retire. Do you know how many people I know or used to know that didn't get to spend a dime of their retirement money because they died while they were still working? They said, listen, when I retire, I will go here. When I retire, I will do this. When I retire. And some of them don't get to retire. Live well while you can. And there's a way to live well, save well, and pay off your debts well. We were never supposed to be in long-term debt. Okay. So we're going to have a show next week on becoming interest generating machines. This is why we're here. And we're going to go over how central banks make their money. They make their money through interest. And we're going to talk about the fact that, and this is going to be huge, the economy is a debt-based economy. Money is created through debt. That's what you need to think about, folks. This thing here, money is created through debt. And I'm going to tell you some things that may set you back on your heels a little bit. And this is why we have this show today. This show is existing today to tell you things like this. Fractional reserve lending means that for every dollar the banks have on deposit, they can lend out $9 or $10. So they actually are lending out money they don't really have. So when you bought your house or when you bought your car, did the bank actually give you cash? Or did they write in to somebody else's account the $40,000 for your car or the $400,000 for your house? Did they write in a certain amount into their account? Did money actually exchange hands? So when you write up a note, you said you're promising to pay back what they wrote in, which are fictional dollars. They wrote the money into somebody else's account. You promise to pay that back plus the interest. So you're paying back fictional money. And on top of that, you're taking your hard-earned money and paying interest on top of that. So when you make this payment here, this $2,333 worth of interest on line one, you've just taken fake money and turned it into real money right here. You took your blood, sweat, and tears, your hard work. You created the income, and based on money that no one really had, you are now paying all of this interest on money they didn't have, but they told you you owe it and you owe the interest on it. Money is created through debt. And we've never been taught that. So, is there a way to manage this so we don't have to do it this way? Yes, there is. And this is why the P.I.L.L method exists. You don't have to pay all of this interest to get to where you want to go. You can pay 75, 80, 85% less interest to buy the things that you want to buy. The dollar that you work for can actually do more for you than you ever thought possible. So don't just be an interest generating machine. We're going to talk about the whole system that put this in place so that we are a natural resource that gets mined just like a gold mine, just like a silver mine, just like copper mines. They or diamond mines. They're digging down deep into our pockets and extracting all of this money. But we get used to it because we make enough money to pay our bills. We make enough money to live where we want to live. We make enough money to drive what we want to drive. We make enough money to go on vacation. We are having a good time while we're filling the pockets of the ultra rich with all of this interest money. You know how many mortgages there are in the United States? I mean, just in the United States. I tried to calculate one time about how much money that is, and my brain started to hurt. I mean, I went on the AI systems and all of that. And the estimates are huge on how much money is being made from mortgage interest, credit card interest, interest on student loans, trillions upon trillions of dollars. And where does it come from? Turning your hard work into dollars and you turning it over to other people. That's what's happening. Can we think about it differently during this time? Because listen, we're going to be forced to think about it. We're going to be forced to think about it during these times because of who's in office right now. And it's dominating the news. Tariffs are dominating the news. People losing their jobs dominating the news. If you understand anything about economics and the inverted yield curve, look that up. Okay, what is going on in our economic system so that it's going to force us to look at things differently and listen to information that's going to not only make things better for us. I don't want to just make things better. We need to prosper. We need to grow some generational wealth. We need to stop letting people reach into our pockets and take out 35 to 39% of our income just in interest payments alone, even though we're doing well financially. We don't have to give them all of that money. So, why do we need to read these books? We need to read the books. And if you come in late, make sure you watch the replay and get the names of these books and start reading. Start reading about your finances. Start reading about how to think. Start reading about how we make decisions and how to change it. It's a perfect time to do this. When things are in turmoil, when things are chaotic, when you don't know what's really going to happen, don't focus on the problem. Learn how to focus on the solution. Okay, folks, we've been here almost 2 hours talking about this today. Dr. O, what are you doing in the audience? Oh my God, what are you doing down there? Okay. And listen, I don't look at this thing often enough.
Yes, this is good right here. You're really hitting on some very important points and very detailed information, and I'm so grateful that you're talking about it.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
it's not scary when you have a plan and you have information and you use the information properly, but it's definitely come to a very bad place in the world over. But I'm grateful for you and everything you're helping us with. Thank you.
Dr. O, I put some books up earlier. I'm going to let me see. Where are my books here? All right. And there we go. Are you familiar with the book The Go-Giver?
The Go Giver.
Yes.
Mhm.
The Go-Giver. Think and Grow Rich.
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you recommend it?
Think and Grow, yes and no. So I've seen the Think and Grow Rich platform, read the book. I
Mhm.
know that Kimbro also has one for Black people, which
Yes.
I've read the book. It doesn't matter what you think and how you grow rich right now in this climate,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So I would say yes for content information, but execution, we need another book.
We need another book. Then that would be The Go-Giver.
The Go Giver would definitely be something that would show us here and now, but even moreover, there needs to be something about global citizenship.
Mm.
Getting your house in order, which I think you do an excellent job about getting your mind in order, your person in order, your finances, your money, your thought processes. You break a lot of programming. The way you teach, the way you've been giving us information, you break a lot of the bad programming, miseducation, misinformation, the slavery, the enslavement, the things of that nature. And I'm not talking about Black people. When I say slavery, I mean the mental, emotional, and economic slavery that's been capered around anyone in the United States. And I can only speak from the United States because I'm a United States citizen, but I have it in other countries. As a global citizen, I have seen global dysfunction, economic global dysfunction. And I think you have combated it. If people can apply it to their house, they could begin to start to apply it in other places as well. But I think it starts with the individual. You, like you said, The Go Giver is an excellent book. However, I still think even with The Go Giver and any other book that's out there, if it's not an application book and you're not teaching people how to apply the information, it's all just content at this point.
Ah, so how can you help us to how to navigate to implementation?
Well, the P.I.L.L method,
Mhm.
okay, and other methods like the P.I.L.L method, when we think about the Burr method, or we think about the P.I.L.L method, or we think about if you want to use the avalanche method, or I forget the other one,
The
or
snowball.
snowball effect, or the rule of 72, or these things. I think the compilation of all of those things being circumvented, being circulated would definitely create a huge powerhouse of information. But I mean all of them together. I don't think that we would use the rule of 72 if we're applying maybe the 20, 30, 45, or 30, whatever method, right? Some of they may not necessarily need to be, but if we're not in application mode over the next decade, and I will even say over the next century, and we're not within the application implementation mode, is literally for naught.
Ah,
Even the Bible, to me, the Quran, which I read, I have both. I have the Quran, I have the Bible, I have the book of the Papyrus of Ani, the book of Going Forth by Day and by Night. I don't care what book I've read. If it's not teaching me to do something, Don, it's literally a waste of time.
Okay. All right. To him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not. Is that what you're talking about, Dr. O?
Just a smidge.
I know to do good. I know what it is to do. But what is it? How do I get to the point where I can do it? So, folks, this is what we're talking about. We're not necessarily, okay, I'll take that back. We are not born to do. Okay? We need to change that mindset and get a mindset that says, I'm not going to try to wait for things to get better. Even in times of turmoil, I can control my circumstances. I don't let circumstances control me. Okay? I master circumstances. Circumstances don't master me. And we can all get to that point where you can master what is going to happen to you. You can construct it. You can invent it. You can create your future by putting things into action. Is that what you're talking about, Dr. O?
Before I became a millionaire, I was an actionaire. I was an actionaire. Listen, I would go to places that only billionaires could get into. And I would walk right up to the door like I owned the place and walk in that same door. Not know what the heck I was doing. I was a kid in my economics, if you will. But my mentor, Dr. Michael V. Roberts, who had reached billionaire status the year that I met him, he told me, start going to places like you're supposed to be there and stop trying to fit in and go in and get in. Go in there like you know you're supposed to be there and see the difference. So I started practicing. This was very scary. It's not something that I'm saying for people to do. It took a lot of courage. I'm very courageous. But Ice, I'm going to tell you, that broke my mentality. Of course, I didn't get in everywhere. Let's be clear. I'm not bragging about anything. There were times they let me know, we will throw you out of here if you try that again, right? But
yes.
what he was teaching me and what God was showing me was every place your foot shall tread that I've given you. So if it's really given unto you, you'll have it whether you pay for it or you don't,
Yep.
whether you're supposed to be there or not, whether you have a degree or you don't, whether you went to school or you didn't. And this is where you start evening the score. So to your point,
Yes.
if you're not going to apply the P.I.L.L method, I know your heart is going to tell people, don't even get started over here. We don't need your money. We don't need your energy. We don't need your resources. We are training and teaching you how to be resourceful and how to apply the P.I.L.L method, not know the P.I.L.L method. You're not here to teach us how to know something. You're teaching us to apply knowledge of having known the information and using it repeatedly for ourselves. So I believe that once people grasp that, even if it's the Bible, the Quran, or whatever religious book that you read, if you're not going to apply the scriptures, I don't want you quoting them. The devil can quote, Satan can quote scripture. Demons quote scripture.
Watch out, watch
Poor
out.
people, Don, you've met them. Poor people will tell you how to get money. They
Yeah.
will.
Mhm.
Divorced and angry women will tell you how to be a good wife, and bad men and horrible husbands will tell you how to be a good husband. But it is you who have come in, and people who have come in that have consistently, when I think about a Reggie who is consistent with what he's doing, he's always consistent, or
Mhm.
anybody that's here that's consistent, it's the actionaire
Yeah.
that creates the millionaire, the billionaire, the trillionaire, whatever you want to call yourself. And you can say what you want to say about Trump or Elon Musk or Kim Kardashian or Beyonce or whatever name you hate. You can say whatever you want, Hitler and whatever else, but these people committed to taking actions. We don't agree.
Mhm. Okay.
Hey, Alexis, welcome to the room. We don't agree, but we do understand that actionaires are the ones who get it done, and even on the good side. So I just want to say I appreciate you for consistently teaching us how to take action, because even with the last session that I had, and I still need to sign up for the P.I.L.L method, put my money where my mouth is, but even with what you did for me on stage, set the tone, and you taught me actions I could take immediately that same day.
Yes.
They're working for me today, and that was almost 2-3 weeks ago.
Wow, that is good. You know, we just put on my thumbnail, I just put up Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and I'm pictured with them. I'm on the left, they're on the right. Okay, what are we going to do? Am I going to be? And I'm not looking at them. Okay, I'm looking at the audience. I'm looking at those looking at me. I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at where I need to go. If I look at them, I'm going to run into something I don't want to run into because I'm not focused. I'm not focused on where I need to go, where I need to be, and what I need to do. So, folks, when you're navigating chaos, you can't navigate. You can't go to where you need to go if you're not looking in the proper direction and doing the proper things. How do you get prosperity in turmoil? You think about it, and then you start to do it. Where do the ideas come from? So we talked about earlier, Dr. O, where ideas come from. Have you ever gone to bed with a problem and needed a solution, and you woke up with that solution? Has that ever happened to you, Dr. O?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was having a time hitting mute. And yeah, so I actually have a mantra or affirmation, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And it just says, this will be resolved when I wake up. That's the simplicity of it. It's longer than that, but
Yes.
just simplicity. I just state this matter will be resolved upon waking up.
Where do
Yeah.
those ideas come from?
Right. So with that being stated, because people have been taught to use our physical, this temple, this physical body, this avatar,
Mhm.
to work, to slave, to work. But we've never been taught how to use the mind in the mouth, to the mind, heart, mouth sequence. Dr. Joe Dispenza does a great job about teaching you how to do coherence, right? So we don't use brain, heart coherence. So it came from study and learning and failure, right? It came from need, which most creation and implementation comes from need. And that's not a good place to be, by the way. It's okay, right? Because need creates the need for wisdom. But what we don't have to do, Don, we do not have to bump our heads, fail and fumble through life, and then be like, oh, there's a better way. No. There was always a better way.
There was always a better way.
There was always a better way. And I think sometimes people get caught up in slavery. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm not talking about skin color or sex or gender. I'm talking about mentality. A lot of people are programmed to only react. But what you teach us and what other people are teaching us, when we apply the information, you remember this, Ice?
Yes.
And I'm sure the audience will remember. Morpheus tells Neo, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And Neo asks, so what are you saying? That I can dodge bullets? And Morpheus said, no, when you're ready, you won't have to.
Come on.
So I don't have to in the chat. Y'all who are listening, type I don't have to in the chat. Type I don't have to in the chat. I don't have to in the chat. I don't have to.
I don't have to.
What you're releasing and other people like you are releasing and letting us know is that I don't have to. That's what created that for me, Don. And now I just wake up with answers, and I'm okay with that. And they're not always good. The answers don't always mean peace of mind. Some of them come with pure war, pure challenge, and pure frustration. But that's not my point. My emotions never control the outcome. My emotions are only signals and hormones operating. Regardless of those hormones, I still have to get it done.
Yep.
So it's the get it done mentality, and understand that, listen, do you like your current situation? Yes or yes. If you do like your current situation, keep doing more of what you're doing. If you do not like your current situation, you know you have to do something else. And it's really that simple.
Yes, it is that simple, because the situation that you're in now, folks, you have put things in place to be exactly where you are. You did that months and years ago. You planted those seeds months and years ago to be exactly where you are. So I know the process works. The process works. It's either going to work to your detriment, or it's going to work for your success. It's your choice.
It is your choice. You are living what you spoke. You are living what you did not speak up for. You are living your actions you took, and you're living with the actions you didn't take.
Yes.
You are living the life that you created. And I think people are waiting for a savior, whether that be a president, whether
Yes.
that be religious, whether that be a parent or a spouse or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a this or a that. People are waiting for it. But this is one thing that I had to learn, Don, besides being an actioneer. This is what I had to learn. I had to learn no one's coming to save you. That's number one. Put fire in the chat if you believe that. No one, and I mean not one person's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. Put some fire in the chat if you believe and know, and let that light be shown that you know for a fact no one is coming to save you. Now that you know that, what are you going to do about that? So therefore, I can't blame my mother for abusing my sister and myself our whole lives. I cannot blame my stepfather for being an alcoholic. I can't blame the guy who raped me when I was 16. I can't blame the white man for colonizing my countries. Right? I cannot blame Don because I didn't register for the P.I.L.L method. I cannot blame Alexis because she blah blah blah. Like, that has to go away. And that is one of the hardest things that I think people struggle with, because some of us are real victims, and that's okay as well. But Don, what I'm believing now and hearing you say, as we look at your photo, and on one side there's a guy looking at you, and on the other side there's a guy looking at you, but you are looking forward and focused. And without that image and that type of trajectory, what the heck are you doing?
Exactly. So, folks, like Dr. O said, we don't need to be in turmoil to spur us or invite us or cause us to do something differently. But because we're in it, I'm using it today. I'm using the crucible of difficult times, uncertain times, to melt you down and drain off all that is going to work against you and deliver you as pure gold, because that's who you are. That's who we all are. But there's just so much mess. There's just so much going on in life that if we allow it to, will keep us exactly where we are. We don't have to, there's no excuse for what happened to you. But you don't have to let it affect your entire life by blaming. You see, there's something in it. There's something that makes you feel good. There's something about blaming others or pointing to others and complaining about how bad things are. If there wasn't something in it for you, you wouldn't do it. But I'm trying to tell you, there's something far better than that. Getting to where you're supposed to go, be who you were intended to be. That process is much more rewarding. It brings you peace. And not only that, but now you are an example for others to bring them out of the mess that they grew up in. There is just so much that's going on that can be good for you and good for others. Serve others, and I'm telling you, the more you give out, and I'm not talking about necessarily money. Do you know how much time we spend here preparing for a show like this? Giving it out. I don't even have a paywall to get in here. It's free. But because of that, people call and say, you know what? I'm sharing what you're talking about. I told somebody else about you. They call and then they subscribe or they purchase. Because this is a business. But what we're here primarily is to help. We're here to help. We even help people that can't pay. There's help for everybody. So what is going to be the emphasis in your life? Is it just going to is it going to be about helping, about serving, or is it going to be about making money? Because I'm going to tell you that if it's just about making money, let me put it back on the screen. If it's just about making money, there's two people right there that I'm showing that's what they're about. They've said it as much. That's what they're about. The richest man in the world bought a president. Did you hear what I just said?
But you know what's crazier, Ice, is that the man that was purchased, wanted to be purchased.
Exactly.
That's as crazy as purchasing another human being. So you bought yourself a puppet, which is typical. What they're doing is showing what's been going on behind the scenes anyway. This is just public information about what's been going on behind the scenes. The rich have always purchased them a president. They've always, the lobbyists lobby, right? We are so busy voting, but they're paying for votes. They're paying for laws. They're paying for legislation. We are out here voting and hoping and wishing and praying and wanting. And they're out there doing and paying for what they do. So you're seeing publicly what's been going on behind the scenes forever. That's number one. So Elon purchased Donald Trump and they're letting it be known. They're side by side. They're okay with that.
Yes.
Purchase that transaction because it's transactional. They're okay with being transactional. And we're seeing that more and more on the internet, that women and men are okay being purchased.
Yeah.
Buy me, pay me, buy me, pay me, buy me. You want my time? Pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me.
Mm-hmm.
And people are now soliciting money, economics, to be in company with one another. Like, it's insane. And we're teaching a generation of youth how to be transactional.
Yes.
That's the GIF, GIF, if you will. That's the GIF, which is a joke.
Could you say, I know there's going to be some younger people that are going to be listening to this maybe later. Describe what transactional means.
Transactional is simply no heart involved.
Mm,
There may be a little mental prowess, but the truth of the matter is transactional means non-caring.
mm,
If I break it down to a simple science, it just means you don't care about what you're doing. It only means that you're doing what you're doing, and there's an end. There is an end, and the end is you give me what I want, I'll give you what you want, but we don't care about each other, whatever that may be. If you want something negative, I'll give it to you for a price. If you want something positive, I'll give it to you for a price. There's no care in transaction.
wow. And
On
we're
the other side, when there's relationship,
mhm,
relationship means I'm concerned with your well-being. There is a form of care in relationship. We're not talking about situationship and transactionship and things like that. We're talking about relationship, meaning I am relative to you. I see myself in you, and I want you to see me in you, and us to see each other in a us. There's a we, there's a us, there's an our. In transaction, there's an I, there's a me,
mm,
and there's a you, and there's a myself. And that is opposition of the truth of how you're formed. The way we're formed is relational, meaning that we utilize former DNA to replicate ourselves with new DNA to create more DNA. So
mm.
that's all relationship. But transactionship says, regardless of your DNA, I don't care about all that. I want what I want. Do you want what you want? Yes. So you want something? Yes. I want something. Yes. Let's transact.
Yeah. I'm telling you, when you can clearly see who started a war and vote with the Soviet Union for the first time, well, with Russia rather, and said, I'm going to vote with Russia when the United States has never in history voted with Russia. That's transactional. There's a purpose in that. There's a purpose in that. And you know what? Guess what? They don't care. And they don't mind you knowing now.
Oh, it's like those movies, and I'm not trying to be facetious or rude or even
Yes.
morbid. I'm not trying to be morbid, but those vampire movies where they finally just come out and they just let you know, like, we're vampires
Yeah.
and we drink human blood, and then humans begin to organize and set up other humans to be drunk. Their blood to be. It's that is what's like ever present and fine. Now the good thing is that it is turmoil, and I'm sure that Credit Goddess and even Ken can speak to the fact that it is in down times that rich get richer. Rich do not get richer when the economy is well. The wealthy don't get wealthier when the economy is thriving. The people do well when the economy is thriving. The rich get richer in turmoil and stress and strain and pain and down markets and things that are going negatively, because at that time they know that the poor, the middle class, and those just getting by will never be able to manage the stress and the strain of turmoil. And when you cannot manage turmoil, aka you're weakened, then that's when the strong survive. So it's a survival tactic for the rich and the wealthy. And the question would be, in your heart as a human, you would say, well, how much do you need? Right? How much more do you need? I mean, Warren Buffett is 94, not 74, not 64, not 80, 94. Type 94 in the chat. How much more money do you need? If your promise of 120 years biblically comes about, you still only have 16 to 30, 20 of those. How much more do you need? 94 years old, and he's running and gunning like he's 20.
Listen, when you look at how much stock he's just sold to have enough dry powder to pick up the bargains when the stuff hits the fan. Okay.
Because at some point in his life,
Yeah.
and later in his life, he recognized this isn't my life to live.
Mhm.
And when you recognize this is not your life, you're on borrowed time, borrowed DNA. And if it wasn't for some gene of some protein, of some atom, of something that came, you wouldn't exist, right?
Yeah.
So he understands he's a nobody. That's why he's a multi-billionaire, because he understands I'm nobody, I'm no one. I'm here to do a thing. I'm doing the thing I'm here to do, and I'm gonna die. That's really that simple for him. So the reason why he sold prior to, and he knew what Trump was gonna do, and you know why he knew it? Because Trump said what he was gonna do.
Exactly.
He knows Trump is a man of his word. He's always been a man of his word, because Trump is the only child of his father that got shipped away. They shipped this man away in his boarding school in his youth. So he knew he had to fight for something, because he was the only one of his father that got shipped away. Then when his brother committed suicide or whatever happened to his death, he knew that was his chance. So Warren Buffett understood this man is a man of who he says he's going to do. He's going to do exactly what he came to do, which is cause a ruckus. He sold everything, 322 billion or whatever it
Look
was.
at you on top of it.
He knew you know, him and I share time frames of birth, so I'm very familiar. But my point in this is that Warren Buffett is not trying to get rich. He's not trying to get wealthy anymore. He's just living out his life. And like he said a long time ago, if I didn't hit the ovarian lottery, I wouldn't be who I am. So I am a white male. I'm already successful in the United States of America. I didn't need to do much but be born of my mother's egg. That's it. So he already teaches that. But the principle that he's showing everyone, if you're open to it, this is your chance to strike while the iron is hot. Warren Buffett is 94 years old. There's no reason for him to get richer than he is. He's not even trying to compete with the richest man on earth. He never has. But what he is showing everybody to do is how the United States government works. And I'll leave you with this, Ice, and everybody here. He said, buy a piece of America. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. And do it when it's bad. That's what he's showing you. The principle is that he knew things were going to get bad. So he sold, and now he's waiting for an opportune time for who? The next generation. He's not even thinking about himself anymore. Not at 94. You're not thinking about yourself at 94. You're done.
Yeah. Wow. Onaje is in the room. Onaje, you don't know how many times I thought about you, man.
What up, brother?
because your business model, because people need to know how to pivot and how to get ready to do something different. Your business model, have you thought about what's going to be happening if DOGE gets their clause into Section 8?
Of course.
Talk to us about it, my brother.
Then look, anybody who did not know, like I said, in America, we got short memories. Look, at the end of the day, at the end of the Trump presidency, we had 20% unemployment. Everybody act like that didn't happen. It was like, oh, it was COVID, blah, blah, blah. No, it was the managing of COVID that got us there. So, we're headed down the same path. And Dr. O was right. Look, a lot of millionaires are made during recessions, but recessions aren't good, y'all. Like, period, right? Yeah, a lot of millionaires are made there, but if you ain't got the money, if you ain't got the cash, if you ain't got the whatever to do that, then you're kind of screwed. One thing for me, I've made money in under red and blue team administrations. I think the key there is to anticipate. Now, some things under this administration, for me, is above my morally. I don't feel comfortable making money that way. For example, I told a lot of people, well, privately in my group chats or whatever, around, if you were a stock picker, if I was a stock guy, I would have told everybody go invest in prisons. And guess what? The prisons stocks went through the roof. Like that's the only stocks that's not going down, y'all. But guess what? That for me, I'm not going to invest in something that's going to put my people in, that's going to make money off my people going to jail. Like, that's not what's up for me. Right. As far as Section 8, a lot of people ask me about it. I've seen this rodeo before. We'll see how they are going to make cuts in the HUD department. They're already not. I actually see that affecting FHA home loans more than anything. Um, we'll see what happens. I'm not as positive around a lot of the people in Trump's world has made a lot of money off of Section 8, right? Specifically, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, the dad, and all of them have a lot of money there. Now, Kushner's messing around in Israel right now, so he probably ain't worried about no Section 8 money no more. Because they about to build some beach houses or whatnot in Gaza. But we in F around find out season now.
Come on now.
You don't get me going. We in whole F around find out season. So my thoughts on Section 8 is I definitely think there won't be any funding increases for sure. There might be a pullback in funding for sure, which I've been through that many times. And with that, that's just going to be preparation and paperwork, making sure that they've already been pulling people. I have a lot of elderly people on Section 8 in my portfolio, and we were getting halts and things like that for the last 6 months. Really, that's just a paperwork deal, right? They're looking for the landlords that's not checking their mail. They're looking for the tenants that's not checking their mail. What we do, we just be a little bit more hands-on. That's kind of what we've done. We've put in our increases early, even though they said they're not doing any increases. We just go ahead and put them in there, so we're at the front of the line when the backlog lifts up. We'll see. I anticipate, but I also don't invest based on fear either, right? Housing is a thing. We're talking, I forget what the latest numbers are, but somewhere around 5 or 6 million people would be immediately essentially homeless if they got rid of Section 8. So, it may or may not happen. But remember, my operations, I do short, midterm, and long-term rentals. Right, my short-term rental business is killing it right now. Hell, my Section 8 business is killing it right now. So if I got to pivot, I'm okay with pivoting because I know how to operate property. Meaning, like, I know how to rent out property. Yeah, we got a lot of Section 8, but right now I'm not necessarily ready to jump off a bridge, right? Like, mainly because, like I said, I've been doing this 18 years. So, what we do is, here's what I really anticipate happening with Section 8. They're going to have more, they're going to intentionally try to kick people off, right? Because when the funding dries up. I'm not sure if it's just going to be a complete halt of payments. I don't think that's going to necessarily be the thing. And they're doing a lot of fighting with the court system. So this will be a bigger fight with the court system. So we'll see how this whole judge fight type of mess go. But I anticipate, when I say more stringent, they're going to be, they're going to do more yearly evaluations of the tenants. And the tenants that don't show up going to get kicked off. They're going to do more inspections, right? They're going to move the inspections up or whatever. And the landlords that don't fix their stuff, they're going to get kicked off, right? So that's typically in the past how they've done things. Now, granted, we in a whole new world with crazy. So we'll face that bridge when it happens. But right now, and what I advise people, what I'm doing right now is I am going through, and we have been frantic about repairing any of our old tenant stuff, any of our old properties. I had a tenant pass away. His wife called. And he'd been with me 14 years, and the wife called and said he passed away a couple years ago, and I went over to go, give her a hug and talk to her and all that good stuff. And frankly, I noticed, I'm like, okay, this house looks like it's been lived in for 14 years, right? It was in bad shape, and what we just basically decided is we're just going through our current stuff, whether it has tenants or not in it, and we're just renovating. So I'm renovating her kitchen. I'm renovating another tenant's kitchen that been with me for 13 years. And so what I'm focused on is making sure that I have a decent product and not a distressed product at all times. That's my deal, right? So if I quote unquote lose my Section 8 money, how quickly can I turn these units over and get them back on the market to someone else, right? And That's the key right now for me. Now, what I'm also not tripping, because you don't really hear a lot of fear in my voice or whatever, I also know real estate market cycles. And I know people talk about, oh, real estate cyclical, but they can't tell you how shit works, though, right? So I'm going to just tell you how this shit works. Okay. Right now, you had a bunch of people on Clubhouse, 4 years ago, talking about building a lot of large multifamily, right? We know all these guys that have disappeared that were building all this large multifamily. Well, what were they building? They were building Class A. I think my man KZ is the only one building affordable housing,
Right.
which was smart. But they were building Class A. Now, fast forward, we got a lot of Class A multifamily hitting the market. Now, I said this several times on stage, but wasn't trying to be a hater. Who's supposed to be renting all this Class A?
Mm.
And when we talk about Class A, we're talking like, efficiencies in one-bedroom apartments in the $1,800 range type of stuff, right? Who's supposed to be renting this? Where they getting their money from? Where is the pool of these tenants? You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning, if you can afford an $1,800 one-bedroom apartment, that likely means you need to be buying somebody's house, right?
Right.
And those and that also means that's a certain age bracket. That's probably the young professional that's 27, 28 years old, 30 years old. We're not cranking those people out anymore in America. We don't like public education. We don't like college anymore, right? This administration doesn't like college anymore. These college kids aren't that money isn't there, right? So what's happening, what I'm seeing in my market, is that those Class A apartment units are not being filled, so they have to lower their requirements and lower their rents,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the people that could afford it but are scared, they're moving down to B. So what happens in recessions is Class A tenant moves down to B. Class A gets burned and likely go into foreclosure. Because it's too expensive. Class A tenant goes down to B level, meaning like, oh, I'm gonna not necessarily downsize, but take a lower quality or whatever you want to call it. Class B goes down to C. C goes down to D. D becomes homeless, right?
Wow.
Like, or D goes to Section 8 or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how that works, right? And that makes sense, right? Like, if you feel like you need to pull back, you're gonna, if you do move, one, a lot of people ain't gonna move. That's number one. Two, the people that are moving, they're moving down. They're not moving up. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I live in the Class C range, right? So A's getting burned, but C, we don't get the calls. Yeah, if that makes sense. Now, I got a horrible tenant application tool these days, but they're not the best calls in the world, but we're still getting them.
Yeah.
And we can still rent them. I mean, we've got 2 showings today, 3 on Friday. So I've got 5 showings for 1 unit right now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the 2-day span. So I feel okay, because at the end of the day, I'm still in affordable housing. So for me, when I say I'm in affordable housing, yes, I play with Section 8. Yes, I play with government programs, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not the only play, right? I'm just affordable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're affordable, at the end of the day, and here's the deal, because I can't understand people are, oh, you're affordable housing. I wouldn't rent to those people. That is America, fool. You know what I mean? Like, that 50% of Americans are likely in the whatever we want to call poor, poverty line, whatever nice word we want to call it, but they broke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not their fault, right? It's income inequality. It's all of that kind of stuff you guys were talking about when I came in the room or whatnot. But that's that is, and again, there is no middle class in America. That's just a nice thing to say to make people feel good, right? Everybody wants to call themselves middle class, right? More statistically, more likely than not, you're actually not. You're either going to be really 2 things. You're either poor, or you're actually upper middle class, or low level rich, and it doesn't add up for you, so you don't really feel like that, right? But statistically, that's what it is. If you make 125, 150 grand in America, you're in the top 7-8% of all earners.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody wants, like, but nobody that doesn't feel like rich, right? Like, if you make 150 a year, that doesn't feel rich at all. But you're in like the top 10% of earners.
Wow.
That so this is the state of our country, our world, right? And that's why I live in the affordable housing space, because ultimately, people need a roof over their head, and I don't like renting to people who literally can't afford what my product is, right? And
Yeah.
and why would I go to a space where there's a 5% of the population can afford this, 10%. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'd rather be in the space where there's 50% of the population can afford what I got to offer. That's just a numbers game. So that's kind of my thoughts in general. Am I likely to take some hits right now? Yes, absolutely. Are we all probably taking some hits right now? Yes, absolutely. Right? Like that's kind of the world that we're in. And frankly, we're doing some pivoting and we're doing some different type of purchasing right now. We're looking at small businesses to purchase up right now. I am in the world of, okay, I've got some capital I can deploy. Where am I going to deploy it? I'll tell anybody right now, I'm putting anybody on the game. We are looking at small baby boomer businesses, essential services. That's what we're looking at. Laundromats, nail salons, stuff like that. That's what we're looking to buy right now. Mainly because one, I think I can get it on sale because these baby boomers are retiring. Two, you don't have enough people out here that could qualify to buy these businesses. Three, some of this stuff is gonna, hey, some of this stuff is on sale. A lot of people leaving America. People don't realize that there were people leaving America last year before he even got in. It's a lot of people leaving America. A lot of legal immigrants are leaving America without ICE. A lot, especially in my area. I don't know about y'all area, but I'm seeing it left and right. Different communities, Asian communities, Indian communities. They just burning out.
Yeah.
And somebody probably in the audience, somebody somewhere is like, oh yeah, good. These are high income people, y'all. We gotta change the face of immigration, right? I bring up the story of what's the doctor somewhere that just got held by ICE, deported or whatever.
Yes.
And I forget what type of she was some high level doctor. I forget what type of doctor she was, but she was a specialized doctor that you don't get a whole lot of.
Yeah.
And she had a whole clinic and all that. And we got Americans cheering that on. And I'm like, we got to be a special type of stupid. Like, we don't make a lot of doctors, y'all. Well, we should hire an American doctor. There's not enough, y'all. There's just not enough. There's not enough Americans that love education, right? Most Americans are anti-vax or whatever.
And she wasn't taking anybody else's job. She wasn't taking up somebody else's space.
No, she was filling a void.
Yes.
Right. Like if you go to Alabama, if you're a pregnant woman in Alabama, the likelihood of you not having proper medical care is that of a third world country. That's a statistical fact.
And I live in Alabama.
Yeah. And no offense to you, but that's if you are in parts of Alabama and you are a pregnant woman, the likelihood of you dying is the same likelihood of any other third world country because we just a lack of medical care and doctors and et cetera, et cetera. I've got several friends that are doctors and they got, you can YouTube this. You ain't got to believe me. You ain't got to believe me at all. You can just Google what I'm saying. These doctors are leaving. There's a whole YouTube video of like Idaho somewhere where the head of like the medical the head of the medical school in the area is going off because they're trying to pass one of these abortion laws,
right?
And he's literally saying no doctor wants to practice here. Why would a doctor want to practice somewhere where they could get arrested for practicing?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why would they want to do that? And that doesn't hurt them, y'all, because they're in demand.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt them at all. It just hurts you in your neighborhood, in your area, whatever, right? Like when if your wife or your daughter, your whoever has some complications in their pregnancy, and they can't go to someone that's qualified to make sure that they ass still lives, right? Like they just alive. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't really, but whatever. We're in crazy world right now. And I tell people, look, we're in F around 5 season, but not to stay on politics because I'll stay in politics forever. I'll say this. just to bring it back to money and education and things of that nature. Um, if you are fearful of this economy, and frankly, you should be afraid. My thing about fear can be a good thing because it tells us, to protect. It's a version of protection.
There you
Fear
go.
is a version of protection. That's how we protect ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Your parent told you not to touch the hot stove. You see what I'm saying? Now, some kids touch the hot stove anyway, right? And they go f around, and find out. And some kids are smart enough not to touch the hot stove. But at the end of the day, as you become an adult, you gain a level of fear by using the around the stove. If the light is on the stove, you should have a small level of fear. Now, our experience tells us we can still work this stove. Now we know how to work this stove properly and not burn ourselves. And that's what we have to kind of live under, right? There's fear out here, but once you understand what's going on and how it's going on, then we know how to properly work the system and navigate, right? So there are going to be a lot of people that get wealthy over time. I bought most of my properties after the 2008 market crash, right?
Wow.
I bought at least 8 or 9 properties between 2008 and 2015. Now, Ice, you're older than me. What was the world saying about real estate in 2008?
Oh, it was going to hell in a handbasket.
And it was,
Yeah.
right? And it was. And people said, do not buy real estate because you're gonna lose everything that you got to have, right?
Hmm.
Like anything you got to have. And that was that, but again, we also have to understand value at the same time,
Yeah.
right? And I think that is the key, is understanding value, right? There's certain things that have value. If you're a stock trader, some people looking at value right now, and I always debate a lot of the stock traders that like, oh yeah, you got to look at the fundamentals in the charts or whatever. No, guys, look at the goddamn balance sheet. Okay, look at where the money coming in. I was debating somebody about Tesla. Oh, you gonna buy some Tesla stock on the dip? I was like, why would I buy Tesla stock? Well, it's low right now. It's on sale. I said, how do you define on sale?
Hmm.
Well, it's cheaper than what it was. I said, no, that doesn't equal on sale.
Right.
On sale is a value of the quality of the product versus what you're spending.
Hmm.
That's On sale doesn't equal cheaper than yesterday.
Yeah.
On sale is a measure of value, right? Well, they lost their Hertz contract last year, so no rental cars is buying Teslas anymore. They
Hmm.
lost their Uber contract last year, right? Because Uber spent the repairs cost too much. Uber had a deal with them for their drivers. They lost that contract. Those are two major contracts. They lost their largest customer base that historically loved their product, right? That customer base is gone, and all of Europe is gone. So what fundamentally makes sense here?
Hmm.
That, and again, I'm not picking on Tesla and Elon or whatever. Well, I am, but I use that as an example of understanding value,
Yes.
because there's people out here saying, oh, well, they're still valuable because they're cheaper. They're 50%. They're down 50%. No, they're down 50% because they were never meant to be that high in the first place because they weren't making money. Tesla doesn't make money, right? Definitely won't be making money this year because they're losing all their contracts, and they're not. And then we're not government contracts we're talking about. The only contracts they have left are government contracts,
Right.
right? But they're not getting regular business to business contracts because those other companies are finding that these contracts don't make no sense. That's how we have to look at value. Is this making money or not? Is this on sale or not? Right. So for me, and again, I put since it's a small room, and we still love y'all on Clubhouse. Like again, I give y'all some game.
Yes.
I'm a type of website in the chat, and this is free game,
Right.
and people Ice, you gonna check this out too because you're smart with tech.
Yep.
Um,
I'm going to put it on the screen.
and again, this is a free website right here. This is flipper.com. What is flipper.com, y'all? Anybody know? Anybody ever heard of this? You ever heard of this website?
No.
And this is why our people need to understand and be in the right rooms. This is the largest, I said largest, marketplace for e-com and digital businesses being sold. And none of us have heard this. This is like the Amazon of buying businesses online. Y'all go to the website, spend 10 minutes on the website, you'll know it's legit. It's legit as hell. It's very similar to like Biz Buy Sell. You ever heard of Biz Buy Sell? Anybody know that Biz Buy Sell?
Okay. Okay. Here, I've got it on the screen,
Sell,
everybody.
Yeah, Biz Buy Sell is another website where you can go and buy a laundromat or something like that, a small business in your area, right? So as you drive around town, you're driving around town, and you are, looking at all the businesses that you go shop at. There's a marketplace to buy these things. There's a marketplace for that.
Mm-hmm.
And these are Biz Buy Sell is probably one of the larger, probably the largest regular brick and mortar physical location businesses that you could buy. Flippa.com is the largest in the world for a marketplace on any type of digital business. And we're talking e-commerce sites, drop shipping sites, Amazon sites, but they've been vetted, they've been looked at, it's not scam world. It's like an Amazon. So like I said, I don't mind sharing that, right? Because ultimately, it's public knowledge. I ain't one of these people that's gonna gatekeep on y'all. But try to charge you 10 grand so I can show you a website. That's not what I'm about to do. But I've dropped that in the chat because you can use an SBA loan against this stuff before they pull back on the SBA loans.
Mm-hmm.
You can use some different stuff here to buy these businesses. And it's actually, Ice, did you know that it was normal to buy a physical business like a daycare center or something with no money out of your pocket? Did you know that?
No.
Anybody want to hear how to do that?
Yes, I think everybody would.
So an SBA loan, and I say SBA loan because the SBA loan is like a FHA loan for regular real estate, right? We've all heard of the SBA loan.
Small Business Administration, y'all.
Small Business Administration. What do?
Yeah.
They partner with banks to back a small business loan because back in the day prior to Trump, the country had a vested interest in small businesses and, employing people and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So with small business loan, all you've got to really do is put 0 to 10% down.
Mm.
Okay. So let's take the high side, 10%. Typically, if you qualify for an SBA loan, all you got to do is put 10% down to buy this business. Well, Najee, I want to buy this $500,000 daycare center because everybody needs to watch their kids. Okay, cool. Got a good idea. Bet. And I don't have that 50 grand. So what are you talking about? All right, cool. Real simple. Seller financing is actually way more normal in the business world than it is in real estate. Did you know that, Ice?
Mm.
And so everybody's heard of seller financing. They're like, oh, yeah, whatever. But this is actually way more normal.
Wow.
Every seller has heard of seller financing.
Yes.
Every seller in real estate has not heard of seller financing. It's hard to convince a seller of real estate to seller finance your property, but a business owner is not. So what's happening is, and again, this is how it is legal. It is completely okay for the SBA. The SBA will tell you that other 10% can be used by the seller to carry back that 50 grand because the seller's gonna get 450,000. They probably chilling with that. You see what I'm saying? Because they built that business from scratch, so they're gonna chill with that, and they'll take the other 50,000 and they'll carry back a loan for you or seller finance it, and that is completely normal for the SBA. You don't hear about this in real estate because the mortgage company will not allow that. That's actually called mortgage fraud if you do not source those funds.
Yes.
So in with an FHA loan, you never heard, or a conventional loan, you never heard a bank saying, "Oh, it's okay to get 10% from the seller itself." No. They're gonna deny that loan every day and twice on Sundays. But the SBA, this is completely normal. You guys go to Google right now, hit ChatGPT, ask it, and it'll tell you completely normal. Completely normal. So right now, as much as I love real estate, and just to be clear, 85% of all small businesses are funded by real estate, just so we're clear, right? So real estate's a backbone to be able to buy and have capital to take down some of these small businesses. But right now, that is my goal for 2025. I am trying to gobble up at least two to three businesses this year, and see what I can take down to enhance my cash flow in this situation, and build on top of what we're doing. As much as I love real estate, right? And I've got 50 doors, I've got 3 apartment complexes and all that kind of stuff, right? But as Dr. O said before I came in, a lot of millionaires are made right now.
Yep.
And a lot of rich people get richer right now. And this is how they do it. Right? This is how they do it.
So, folks, listen, we can't wait. We can't look at Trump. We can't look at Musk and wait around and see what's going to happen. We need to figure out what's going on, read the tea leaves, talk to somebody who knows, and make some moves now and be prepared, because it's going to come back around again. It's going to come back around. Are you going to be prepared the next time around? If you're not prepared now, let's work on getting prepared. There's nothing that's happening now that's going to keep you from going forward if you have the mindset to go forward. And so now because those who are prepared now, there was a time when they weren't prepared. They had to get there. All right. They didn't. So Anaj, you said you have how many doors? 50 doors?
Yes, sir. 50 doors.
You weren't born with 50 doors.
No, I was born from a single mom with 4 kids that made less than 12 grand a year when I was a senior in high school.
There you go.
We absolutely ain't had no money.
Okay. So, folks, it's time to stop looking for excuses for not getting to where you want to go. And like Dr. O said before, stop trying to blame others for lack of opportunities. What we need to do now, folks, is find out what we need to do now so that use this time to learn, use this time to search, use this time to implement some ideas. And so that when
you ain't got no time to be tired, you ain't got no time to feel sorry for yourself. The only point of clarification I will say is,
yes,
let me be real clear about something.
Yes,
there is going to be a lack of opportunity. Opportunity is going to be taken away. Is currently being taken away, right? You've got major colleges firing people. Doctors are not being able to do research or whatever. Look, opportunities is absolutely going away. And there are clear people to blame, no doubt about that. However, to your point, Ice, that can't be an excuse.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have to see, I just clarified it, and I'm respectfully, right? I'm clarifying because there's a lot of talk around, oh, well, we just need to stop asking people for handouts, whatever. No, these weren't handouts. These were things that are being taken away from us.
Mhm.
And that's real, right? Now, what we have to do is we have to dig into our ancestral genes and get get some heart and say, okay, it's time to roll up our sleeves and fight, right? And fight for your livelihood. And when I say fight for livelihood, okay, how are you gonna let your family go hungry at the end of the day? At the end of the day, I got a wife and 2 kids. My family ain't going hungry, y'all. There's no way I'm gonna allow my family to go hungry as long as my brain and my body is still working. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
just and if it's tougher, then guess what? We gotta go harder,
Mhm.
right? And it will be tougher. I don't want to sugarcoat it for people. It's about to be if it ain't all, if you ain't got it yet, you're gonna take a straight bullet some type of way, right? And that's just the way it is right now, right? Oh well, I don't have that government job that they fired with DOGE. Okay, how much was this person getting paid? Where do they live? They was somebody's tenant. They did have somebody's mortgage. Now they can't pay their bill, right? Like this is a domino effect. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying? Like, but that's not an excuse for you to go hungry. That's not an excuse for you not to. And matter of fact, what you got to do is, to your point, double down, go harder, educate yourself, take some moves, take some shots, right? Like it's more important that you shoot those threes down.
Right.
You got to shoot now. You can't be on the sideline say, oh well, you got to be ready. I like to use my basketball and football analogies or whatever, right?
Mhm.
If you've been sitting on the bench for all game, and coach puts you in the game, you got to be ready.
Yes.
You got to be ready, and there's no hiding. Again, I use my basketball analogies. There's always the kid in 5th grade and middle school that made the basketball team, but don't really want to play in the game.
Yes.
They really just want to be the cheerleader. They the hype man. They the kid that hey, they just there. They're the ball boy, all that kind of stuff, right? It's actually more ball boy types than alpha, LeBron James types, right? And we all focus on LeBron James, but there's really more of those, right? We got to be ready to shoot when it's time to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to shoot, y'all, because right now, to your point, ain't nobody about to give us nothing.
Mm-mm.
Matter of fact, they taking stuff away. They taking things away. They figuring out every way possible for us not to get ahead. Any type of way for us not to get ahead. Did you know that 22% of all government employees are African American? Did you know that?
Did not know that.
But we're only 13% of the population?
Wow.
Do you think this was an accident, them going off of quote unquote government waste? DEI? That DEI is the new code word for black.
Yes.
Right? Am I wrong there?
No, you're not wrong at all. That's how they're using it.
Yeah, that's how they're using it. So what are they really saying? Hey, y'all, we need to fire all these unqualified black people. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. And we're cheering them on. We got black people cheering them on.
Yeah, we do.
Like I said, yeah, we do. I you're older than me, right? So you remember, I learned. You're probably my mom's age or whatnot, or a little bit younger or whatnot. But I learned from your generation. And when I was growing up, they always said, people your generation said, "Hey, man, you better get you a good government job." Is that not something y'all say?
Listen, man, I still hear it. It's ringing in my ears.
So we're cheering on, and these government jobs, they may not make you rich, but these are good middle class jobs, right? They are. We are losing those like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Does that help or hurt our community? It absolutely does not help our community.
Does not.
So my bad. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm just saying that, like you were saying before, Najee, you got you don't have just one product. You have in your portfolio, you have several products, so that whatever's going on in the market, you won't be left out in the cold. So I had to do the same thing. I save people, $100,000, $200,000, $250,000 in interest they will never have to pay, and my product is worth every penny I charge for it and then some. But I had to think about those who may be losing a job or may be downsized. Can I have another product, or can I have another level of products that we don't have so many services, but people can still afford, so that we can not only still help people, but stay in business? Yeah, I had to do that. I had to pivot and be ready for when the time comes, because the time is coming. I can't wait until that my product that is well worth the price, that a lot of people can't afford it right now. I have to put something in so that they can level up. And I have to learn what a half truth is. And before we get out of here, folks, I need you to look that up, that term, and study it. Half truths. Now, some things are outright lies. So when Carolyn Levitt speaks from the White House podium, some of those are outright lies, but some of them are half truths, where they're saying we're doing something for this reason. That may be part of the reason, but it's not the real reason.
Exactly. Come on now.
Find out what the real reason is while they're doing it, because what they're doing is they're offering you up something that's red meat for the base. This is something that people are going to like to hear, and we're doing it for this reason.
But why are they doing it for themselves?
Yes.
Here's an example. DOGE itself.
Yes.
Let me be real clear with y'all. What does DOGE? Do y'all really think a man that came from South apartheid Africa, right, that has called himself and paid off and pushed out the founders of Tesla? Look, and just so we're clear, we know that Elon did not found Tesla. He bought into Tesla and pushed out the founders, by the way, FYI. Y'all really think this man is doing this out the good of his heart?
Uh,
And if you don't know what he's after, then you might need to real think about some stuff. And I'm gonna be real clear what they're getting. They want the data.
yes.
That's what they want. Oh, well, he already got data because he, somebody argued me with this. Well, because he had PayPal and he had this or whatever. No. They want more data because data is the new currency.
Yes.
With data, you can train AI better. You can train this better. You can make more money. If I know every aspect about you, Ice,
Yep.
do you think I could sell better to you?
Better believe it. Do you realize 21 people on that team quit because of what they were doing? Because of what they were accessing, because they were told they were going to do one thing and they end up trying to dig in deep, find out this information so that they can monetize it.
Absolutely. Well, they already know how to monetize it. Like I said, they just give more information.
Yeah.
So check this out. When you sign up for Twitter or Meta or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, you're pretty much telling this company every damn thing there is to tell about yourself, right? I mean, you're telling it, but based on your posts, based on the things that you like, you're telling it everything there is to know about it. And they know a lot. You know what they don't know? They don't know your social security number.
No, they don't.
They don't know exactly how much money you paid and made last year with the IRS. They don't know that, right? They don't know. You might have told them who your sister and brother are, but you might not have put all your siblings, all your family on there, right? Like, think about all the things that the government knows that the public sector actually don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
There is more there. So if I know exactly how much money you made, I know exactly how much your write-offs are. I know what you went to the doctor for yesterday for. Like, these things that you ain't telling Facebook all that.
No.
You know, and although Facebook knows a lot, that's what they're after, and that is the goal. That is worth more than whatever dollars allegedly that whatever, and that's that. And guess what? They can make money off of this data, or they can go sell your shit
Yeah.
to the highest bidder, and that's what's going on.
So yeah,
Right?
why don't they just go in and shut the thing down? Why they have to go and access the computer systems? Why they have to access how the pay systems that the U.S. uses to make sure that you get your checks every single month? Why do they have to access those systems?
Because they don't want you. And there's a sister in the audience dropping game, I think. Okay, because look, if we want to get to the nitty gritty of it, what is rich and what is wealthy as a concept? And I'm gonna break this down very, very simply. You cannot have rich people without poor people.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that again. Simple concept, but I always have to kind of say this again for people. The definition of rich or wealthy is only in relation to someone else.
Yes.
Only. The average American makes like 35 grand or something like that, or whatever, and that is considered wealthy in some other third world country.
Yep.
Right. And so, certain people will tell us, well, be thankful because if you made this in some other country, then you would be rich. But we don't.
Yeah.
We're here in America. Right. And in America, that is the definition of not being well off. You see what I'm saying?
I need you all to kind of zero in on this, because let me tell you, the people who are members of the country club, okay, do not want to eat dinner next to the person who washes dishes at the country club.
Come on.
It's not fun anymore. If the person washing dishes at the country club can't afford to be there.
If I'm not exclusive, it ain't worth shit.
No.
Like it's just not. So in reality, there's two ways for me to become rich. See, people only talk about one way. One way for me to become richer, right? Let's say I already got some money.
Yeah.
And I want to be richer, right? the way that 99.9% of us think about this is, well, OJ, go out here and make some more money, go buy some more shit, go get wealthy,
Mhm.
right? That's one way to make myself rich. You know, another way to make myself rich that no one ever talks about, like no one ever says, and I just kind of hinted at it. You know, the other way.
What's the other way?
There's a whole other way that no one ever talks about. Like when I say it, and when I say it, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's fucked up. Oh, because 99% of people never say what I'm about to say. There's another way to become rich, like richer. Let me say richer. If you
Yeah.
already got some money, there's another way to become richer. Make everyone poor.
Mm.
That's a fact.
Find a way to siphon off their wealth.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
And we're going to be talking about that next week. Okay. Next week, we're going to be talking about that because next week's show is going to be about you being an interest generating machine. That's who we are. We're going to talk about how
That's deep, Ice. That's deep.
Yep. How the wealthy siphon off your wealth and make you think you're doing okay. That's next week's show.
Oh, I already know where you're getting with that too. That's something that y'all come back for that for sure. Because at the end of the day, when you're making payments to somebody else, see, that's the world that I'm in, right? I'm in the world of getting payments.
Yes.
Like that's as a landlord, that's what I do. I'm collecting checks because I figured, look, okay, things could get rough. First thing you ask me is like, hey, what's gonna happen in your Section 8 check? I'm like, look, we'll see. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna still be able to get some checks some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I've got an asset that people need, right? I've got an asset that people need. And as long as there's more people that's willing to rent than buy,
yep,
then I'm winning. You know, and this same concept applies everywhere. If you need what I have and you can't survive with what I have, you owe me forever.
Yeah.
And we have to make ourselves a little bit more independent or get around getting that game a little bit more, right? We have to increase, we have to make things, we have to produce things, we have to get small businesses, right? Have you seen that? And I know you about to I'm not sure if you're gonna shut it down, so
I'm getting ready to get out here in a few. In a few.
I'm gonna land this with this. Do you know what group of people make the most amount of money in this country? They had this stat running around all on social media last year.
Let's go.
Indian American people have the highest income
yep.
in America.
Yep.
I think they're somewhere north of like 160 grand per year per person,
mm-hmm.
which is kind of really dope for them, right? Like, they're literally the average Indian American, not Native American, Indian from India, right?
Yeah, right.
Are making 160 grand a year. The average. That we're not talking about the highest. We talking about the average.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like, all they low level people are making at least 160. You see what?
Yeah.
That's pretty significant. What do they do though to make that?
Ouch. I don't think I want to talk about that, but go ahead.
They all their kids go to college.
Yep.
All their kids are majoring in technology and STEM.
Yep.
In college.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. They're not smarter than us.
Mm-mm.
They just have a different value structure, right?
Yeah.
They're not. Right, like, look, I went to school. Look, I got plenty of Indian friends that we kick with. Like, okay, you ain't smarter than me.
Mm-hmm.
You just study hard. You got a tiger mom. You know what they call tiger mom? That's where they coming from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they call tiger mom. And then they own small businesses.
And where do they own these small businesses?
In our neighborhood.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Right. We saw it with the Simpsons back in the day. Hapu rich, y'all.
Yeah.
Like that show made fun of Hapu. He was the only one who had a business. I mean, you know, outside of Mr. Burns, it was Mr. Burns and Hapu that had the businesses.
Yes.
Hapu got money, y'all. Like, Hapu working at 7-Eleven for 30 years now. He got money now, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
He bought that 7-Eleven. He done bought that whole strip center. He bought the hotel industry. The hotel industry is owned by the Indians. They own that game.
There you go.
They own it. They own that game. They own the in my city for sure. They own that game. They own the gas station.
Gas station.
They own the gas station. They own the convenience store game,
mm-hmm.
right? They own a lot of real estate. They own the multifamily game in Texas. They are in that sucker thick, right? They got businesses. Number one, they got businesses And number two, they're marketing to other people outside their culture,
Yes.
right? Us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking that money back to their culture. Then they pooling that money to buy more of the same shit.
There you go.
There you go. And I'll land my plane with that.
Listen, man, this is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. You thought we were going to come in and bash Trump and bash Elon Musk? No, I'm not looking at them. When you see the picture, I'm not looking at them. I'm looking straight ahead. What I'm looking at is what's going on that's causing all of this turmoil, and how can we're talking about different books we can read, different strategies we can employ. But what we need to do is, if this is your kick in the pants, to finally do something for yourself, to build up your business, to learn how to create income for yourself and stop depending on others. Listen, there's no better time than right now. No better time than right now. Thank you, Kenny, for saying that this is a very informative conversation. Kay was talking about let's see, because the currency may not be money, but bodies. Next week, that's what we're going to be talking about. That's the new currency, bodies. How to turn bodies into money. This is what we're going to be talking about next week. You don't want to miss it. All right. I want to thank everybody who came to the stage to contribute. Credit Goddess, Ken, thank you for being here. Onaje, thank you for being here. And I was hoping you would spend some time in telling us how you have set yourself up in business, even though a lot of your business is Section 8, but it's not only Section 8. And if you needed to, you can convert all of that into C and B type properties. Oh man, oh man, oh man. That is some good stuff. Listen, folks, come back here next week. Let's learn how to deal with money. Let's learn how money actually works, how it is designed to work, how the rich use money in a way that they literally turn it into something that they rent, and we pay rent on money. And so they want to rent it out for as long as they can, for as much as they can. We want to learn how to get that money and leverage it and start thinking like a bank. How can we leverage money and pay mathematically the least amount of interest we possibly can, and then take that money and leverage it and turn it into wealth? Next week, folks, you don't want to miss it. Thank you very much, everybody. We're getting ready to get out of here. And where's our theme music? Oh, don't forget, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and get your savings and earnings report. It's free. Also, I'm going to be in Philadelphia at the tech conference that we put up earlier. Okay. I'm going to be at Diversitech. The first time I'm speaking at a tech conference is going to be on Friday of this week. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. And okay, we'll see you next week. I got to get to my theme music here. Let's scroll up here. Let's find it so we can say goodbye. There it is. See you next week.